Thank you for meeting tonight, coming tonight's meeting, June 13th, 2022. Please rise and salute the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilman Hanlon.
Present.
Councilman Lewandowski.
Present.
Councilman Niles.
Here.
Supervisor Moon.
Here. Okay, before we get into resolutions, we got two speakers that are going to speak. Number one is Supervisor Ben Driscoll from Glens Falls. He's going to talk a little bit about the SNAP program. He promised he won't take too long, so get him going. Let's come to this microphone.
Good evening, and thank you for the invitation to come to Lake Luzerne this evening. My name is Ben Driscoll. During the day, I work for Catholic Charities for Saratoga, Warren, and Washington counties. My job is essentially to work on federal feeding programs, provide information and education to the biggest program that I represent is the SNAP, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. Years ago, it was called food stamps. In Warren County, approximately 3,300 different households receive SNAP benefits in an average month, 2021, 2022, the first 5 months of 2022. Of that represents about 7,000 individuals, or about 11% of the county's population. My job is to shake the branches and find those individuals and families who may be eligible for SNAP, but for whatever reasons aren't currently accessing it, aren't utilizing the benefits that the program provides to individuals. Approximately 40% of the recipients of SNAP benefits are 60 years of age and younger. The children of individuals, parents who are eligible for SNAP. About 25 to 30% are senior citizens, 60 years of age and younger. And of the balance of the 30 to 35%, a majority of those individuals have incomes, whether that's employment, part-time employment, seasonal employment, even full-time employment, or they're receiving some type of a disability benefit that doesn't allow them to work or work full-time. Again, many of those families are struggling. They're living paycheck to paycheck, and they want to provide for their families. They want to pay their rent or their mortgages. They want to provide healthy, nutritious foods, and the SNAP program allows them to do that. I provided the board members with a packet of information. This Wednesday, I will be attending for the first time in a couple of years the food pantry here in Lake Luzerne, which does fine work and reaches out to residents from the town of Lake Luzerne and the town of Hadley and Saratoga County. My area is Warren County. In 2019, I addressed this board and I addressed all town boards in Warren County. I've already started with Lake George, Warrensburg, Queensbury, and Chestertown. And before the summer's out, I will be doing similar presentations in every municipality in Warren County. There's a lot of stigmas that go along with the program. Very few people, again, I'll repeat, very few people commit fraud or abuse. Most of the people need it. The maximum that an individual can receive is $250 a month. That translates out to $3,000 a year, if my math is correct. To stay for one night in any hospital room in New York State is going to be probably cost right around that same amount. So again, it's a preventive program. Again, it guarantees that that individuals are visiting their doctors and going to the hospital less often because they're healthy, they have proper nutrition. And again, my reason for being here is to ask the people at the front desk, but all of residents of Lake Luzerne, if you know a family, if you know an individual, I did 2 applications for individuals, one an 86-year-old woman and the other a 74-year-old woman, just today, earlier today in Glens Falls. Those people are living on Social Security and a small pension. They probably didn't start working until their children were older, and thus their Social Security benefit is a little bit less than maybe the generation, this generation, my generation, although I'm in my mid-60s too. I'm here again to ask your support to be ambassadors to the program. Reach out to individuals that you think might need a helping hand up. Many of the people only participate for a number of months, maybe a year or 2 until they get back on their feet. They get additional hours, they get a new job that pays better. Of course, with the cost of groceries, the cost of gasoline, many more people are utilizing the food pantries now just to make ends meet. And another fact is that many people are supportive of people in need during the holiday season, and I encourage that. But it's really the summers that the most need is needed, because the kids aren't in school. They're not getting fed through the school meal program, which I also help promote, as well as congregate senior meals and home delivered meal programs for seniors. But they're not getting that breakfast, and in some cases that lunch at school. So they're home. Mom or dad need to provide that meal, and that's an additional groceries on families' budget. So again, I appreciate the invitation. And again, if anyone needs to contact me, again, my name is Ben Driscoll. I work for Catholic Charities in Glens Falls, so right on Broad Street. My telephone number is 793-6212. And when I'm not doing that, I have the pleasure of working with Mr. Molino and 18 other individuals on the County Board of Supervisors. Even though I represent the 5th Ward in the city of Glens Falls, which encompasses the hospital and right along the Hudson River, my constituents are Warren County residents. I do everything that I can to reach out to residents from throughout the county to share information about programs and services that are available to them. I have the opportunity to chair the Human Services Committee, which in addition to social services encompasses the veterans, and there's plenty of veterans and veteran families that I've been able to assist through the SNAP program and other opportunities that are available to them. So I thank you for your time and attention. And again, please reach out to me if you have any additional questions in the future. Thank you.
Ben, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Anybody has, I have Ben's number. If anybody wants to email me or call me, I'll make sure you get it and he'll get in touch with you.
What
Thanks,
was that number again, Ben?
793-6212.
I think we
Got
got
it
one
right.
hand up there, Fred.
Yeah, would it be to your advantage or the children's advantage to go to the school and, ask the nurse or the principal of these children?
Yep, I have reached out to the, and each school is a little bit different, but I reached out to the school nurse, the food service coordinator, as well as in some cases, social worker or the individual who handles that. Also, sometimes anyone in the office can help me, but sometimes the school social worker or the psychologist, as well as the school nurse, are valuable resources, and I do get referrals from that.
Like you approach them, or they have to approach you?
I've approached them generally at the beginning of the school year. I send them or drop off information to them. And of course, I haven't been doing very much outreach over the last couple of years. Very few not-for-profits have been. But again, my first visit to the food pantry will be Wednesday morning, and I want to make it a regular opportunity. Yeah, I work with the school districts, I work with the senior centers, I work with a lot of faith-based organizations, churches in the region. Anyone, and sometimes even the business community, especially seasonal business community. At the end of the summer, beginning of fall, I get a lot of phone calls. They want to take care of their employees who have families who may be going out on unemployment. during
Like you
winter.
did, you mentioned the kids during the summer.
Yes.
Would it be better to approach them now rather than in the spring?
Oh, I do share information with them, yeah. Yeah, but I give them a lot of information just before the school year, but,
Well, you mentioned summer when they're
yeah,
not in the
yeah.
pool program.
well, one of the things that I've been working on is, during the COVID, all students have been receiving, school meals, even whether they're able to pay for it or not.
Yeah, I
And,
understand. We use that during the summer is when
Yeah.
they're not getting it.
Yeah,
So
and
now would be the time to
there are
approach
summer,
school.
there are summer programs, and I work with the rec commissions on that, so it helped me identify some of the children who are part of the town recreation programs, just to get the information out to them too.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, the next one up is Mike Schaefer is going to give you an update on the lake.
Good evening, town board and members of the audience. I will keep this brief so that you don't go to sleep behind me or in front of me. Very brief. This is a presentation. I'd like to introduce myself, Mike Schaefer, Kurt DeColsty, two members of our CSLAP program, the Citizen Statewide Lake Assessment Program. Dr. Jane Oppenlander, myself, presented a paper at the New York State Federation of Lake Association Conference in April, which was written by three members of our CSAP group and a graduate student. This program with Lake Luzerne started 2.5 years ago, so this is our third year of a 5-year commitment. We're affiliated with New York State FOLA, Federation of Lake Associations, with over 160 participating lakes and over 600 volunteers. Remember, we're all volunteers for the program. So what do we do as CSLAP volunteers? We monitor water quality and current assessment of the lake. For example, we look for trace amounts of phosphorus, nitrogen, chlorophyll, and some other things that Kurt can pronounce that I can't. We're a team of dedicated volunteers and have gone through a training process that allows us to follow the procedures that are provided for us by the state. Members include Kurt, myself, Jane Oppenlander, Jim Nile, Kevin McGinn, Howard Schaefer, Preston Franco at the current time, and others who've expressed interest that we will hope to be able to join our group. Right now, we go out 8 times a summer. Every other week, we take water samples at various depths, and we use equipment that we've previously shown. We will be back again every month. We'll be back July, August, September, and let you know how we've progressed in our findings. Once we get these water samples, we send them to a lab in Syracuse to be tested. The result is each summer, the lab results are analyzed and recorded, and that gives us a trend through the year and also gives us a trend of the quality of the lake through the years. This data is important to be able to assess the lake and to support future grant applications so that we can receive funds for the future of the lake. And I'm done. Questions?
Anybody have a question? All right, Mike, thank you. See you next
Other
month.
than I can say, they do a heck of a job to help that lake out. And I know the townspeople, myself included.
Where do you get our
Appreciate
bill?
That's nothing new, Mike. You know that.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now we'll open the floor to anyone that has any questions about the proposed legislation going to be brought in front of you.
I'd like to state one thing. Resolution 97, which is the resolution to appoint a deputy zoning officer. We have not received any more applications. So we'll fill in that blank for the name Kevin Joyner.
All right. Any questions? Bob?
Yeah, I was at the agenda meeting, and the park fee reimbursement was discussed. I thought it was pretty well settled. And when I left the meeting, it was more or less, it comes to this decision. And it was just a matter of coming to this meeting and making the resolution. Tonight, it's not even on the agenda.
Well, I explained it to you. We didn't get from 5 people yet. And just don't want to do anything until everybody knows what's going on. But I guarantee you, we just talked about it today. If they don't send anything in, they're going to stay status quo.
What difference does that make on the decision? You can make that decision afterwards.
Well, this is the way we worked it out. So I-
That's 50% of the people on that list, Bob.
I don't understand what information they're pertinent. What do you need from them that you don't have?
The same information we asked for you.
yes.
What's the deadline?
I gave it to you, but you had that anyway. All you gotta do is a little bigger and it's right there in front of you.
What's the
I
deadline?
got all the figures to home if you need, on everybody,
On everybody?
on everybody.
Well, I appreciate you brought that into Colleen. She's waiting.
Percentage of penalty for it.
All right. I wish, appreciate you bring that into Colleen if you have it on everybody. but She's waiting for the last couple. And you've waited a long time and I understand that, but another couple of weeks or a month.
It's been a long time. It's been, well, I've been at it for almost 2 years. It seems to be like, that's just kicking the can down the road.
well,
No, this will be
I-
finished up in my eyes, and I'm only talking for myself at the next meeting, which is our regular meeting, approximately 30 days from today.
All right. Anyone
If
else?
these people don't come up with the information,
I don't see what that has to do with it. You know,
I think,
there.
I think you would be upset personally, Bob, if for some reason you didn't send it in and we made a decision that you didn't like,
If you want.
made a decision and it was something that you didn't care for. After the fact, you'd come back at us, correct?
Everybody wouldn't care for it. You think anybody on that list is stupid enough to say they don't care for it?
I didn't say didn't care for it, the right figures. That's what I said. And what I meant.
All right. Anyone else?
Yeah, on resolution.
Figure that out. The job description you have is, I don't think I know if I have it with me.
You got the job description, the constable, Jim?
Yeah,
You had it the other night.
I have.
So we have 190. 99, 97.
You know what I'm saying?
Once you have that.
Tonight,
Um,
we all agree with that.
We have a written description. It was local law number 1 of 2021. It's 2 or 3 pages. I can basically boil it down to screening all people who enter the municipal building and courtroom, ensuring that no weapons, contraband, or other prohibited items or materials are brought into the building. Attending to order and peace in the town is directed by the supervisor and or councilman as needed. Pretty much I'm boiling down 3 pages into that. Look at it.
Basically, Stan, they'll be reporting to all court cases. Okay. If anybody on the town board feels we need them here, they'll also respond here. Okay, and any other meeting that's necessary.
Is he armed?
Yes, he can carry a
You
weapon.
can- yeah.
He is certified. He's gone through the courses, the whole 9 yards.
Okay, so $5,000 is just a general.
It's the same amount that we had for the last person.
I forget the arithmetic, but it's based on so many meetings a year. Qualifications, high school diploma, state driver's license, permit to carry a handgun, certified police officer or certified peace officer.
Too late. But he also, on the calling of the board, he takes care of town property. One of them, as you probably remember, in 2020, when the beaches were closed, we had tons of people up there. I call him out, or the board calls him out, and he clears the beach. He has the authority to do that. He has the authority to stay here at a board meeting and take care of anything that might disrupt the meetings. No.
No, does not have the authority to arrest. In fact, in here, it says if that has to happen, he's got to call state or county.
Support.
All right. All right, wait, let me get, Freddie, come to the mic, Fred, come to the mic, please.
On that question Stan just had, who holds the liability if he makes a mistake?
We're insured for it, and it's the town.
But we are covered with him, I mean, all right. Okay, so going to page 10, 105, the state of New York maintenance on the Hudson River. Page 10.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
We spoke to the girl up there and she said it's a on-call basis. I don't know what that meant when she said that. Is there any paperwork that the state of New York is supporting this town, giving this town, supporting that work?
Well, we got information from them, what they're gonna do, what it means on call. If she calls,
That's what we asked her. What does that mean? She
Well-
goes, well, you know, when we need them, we call.
that's exactly right. If she
Yes.
needs somebody a couple of days, she'll, in advance, it's not that minute, she's not gonna call and say, I need somebody here at 8 o'clock. But they give you a notice.
All right, so is there any paperwork on it which
There's a
specifies
job,
the
there
work?
is a job
Description?
description, yes.
Where is that posted?
Ron should have a copy of that
Yeah, I think Ron's got a copy, Colleen's got a
copy.
You
Because
review
that
it.
being on call, that's, Paul, you've been on call, you know what that's like. I
I've been
mean,
on call for 52 years.
That's what I'm saying. I
We
mean,
already
that's-
discussed this and, you know, in regards to the situation, this whole thing is stretched over a 3-year period.
That's not much money, $50,000. When you're driving a
When he hits a
$200,000
cap.
loader.
When he hits the cap of $50,000, just like the lady said, he stops.
Is that
And
in
then
the,
there's
pa-
more money.
is that in the paperwork?
That is.
Because, you know, we've done work for the state and there's always a problem getting money and getting clarification on things.
You read the thing.
But that's what we got an attorney for? I guess he's
You
reviewed
looked
it.
at it, yep.
Everything has looked good?
Yeah, everything's fine. Ron was in agreement with it. When the lady came and presented, I don't even know if there was any questions on it, but there weren't any concerns that we had in terms of moving forward with the agreement.
All right. So $50,000 is a 3-year policy? Okay, well, it doesn't sound like enough money for 3 years.
Well, when the money runs out, so does the work stop. So that's the protection we have.
Is that in the contract that you wrote?
Yeah, I didn't write it. It's a purchase order from the state that we reviewed. It's a standard purchase order that the state issues. And like I said, we didn't have any issues with the language in it.
So the $50 is not the cap, it's a starting point.
The 50,000?
Yes.
That's my understanding.
I asked that specifically of her when she was here.
Well, but she didn't say it was on call basis when we were here listening to her. Because we drove up there and we met her walking out. And she said, well, it's a non-call basis.
It's in the contract.
All right.
It's in the contract, Fred.
Well, just trying to cover Lake Luzerne. I mean,
Thank you.
$50,000 is not a lot of money.
When Ron puts in the vouchers, that's the way we're gonna see it and stop.
Why, you want to kick in, Fred?
Chip in what, 50? No. I mean, huh? But I know what a backhoe costs.
All right.
Huh?
Thank you, Fred.
And it's a lot more than $50,000.
Thank you, Fred.
Thank you. Any other hands? Jack,
I have a question.
can you come to the mic, please?
I have a question on the notice that's required for the meetings with regards to legislation or resolutions. Let me preface it by saying I'm not that good on the computer, but I did look on our website today, and I can't see any notice of the resolutions that were to be discussed or voted on tonight. And in November of 21, New York State passed a law that towns are required to post that at least 24 hours in advance if they have a website. Secondly, when I look for meetings, the most recent meeting that's posted on our website for upcoming meetings is dated May 23rd. It makes no mention of tonight's meeting.
Let me answer your question.
Sure.
I believe we did send that agenda Friday afternoon to be posted on the website with a notation, please have this up no later than Sunday afternoon. So I don't know after that, but
Okay.
we did send that. As to the minutes, you're absolutely correct. And I have for the board tonight, 7 town board meetings that I have put the minutes together for. Some of them extremely lengthy. Issues in my office actually have delayed the minutes. That's as much as I can tell you, but there's 7 meetings here tonight that will go to, they don't have to approve them. I know they haven't read them all, but they'll go to the webmaster tomorrow.
Thank you for that explanation, but also there's no, on the website, there's no minutes for the agenda meeting when these resolutions were discussed. So, I mean, as a member of the general public, supposing someone wanted to come to the meeting and look up what's going to go on, they have absolutely, which the law requires you do. And I understand what you're saying,
I
you
know
know,
what the law requires.
right.
you know.
And, you know, there's nobody sitting behind me, I believe, knew anything about the resolution. So they walked in here and picked up a copy of them that are on the desk here. And if maybe council can correct me if I'm wrong, but a failure to post these in 24 hours in advance can actually nullify any action you take on these resolutions.
That was, I just told you, was sent to the web on Friday. After that, I didn't check it today. I don't know if it's up there. You're saying it's not, but they were sent.
Well,
Already sent them.
yeah, the bottom line is, I mean, nobody has any notice of what you guys are going to talk about, vote on, what any of the issues might be. And this is all required by law, or it can nullify any of your decisions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody on Zoom? Anybody on Zoom?
Yeah. Do you have any hands in Zoom? Okay. Yes, Howard. Oh, I'm sorry. I
Right
didn't see
here.
you coming up. Sorry.
Paulette Zubel.
Got to speak up a
Who's
little.
responsible for putting this on the web? Is this our web director there
That's Jamie.
that we pay $25 an hour?
She's responsible, put him up. She
So
gets 'em.
how are you going to address this?
The only
I
thing
mean,
I
it
can,
happens every meeting.
the only thing I can say to you, we'll have to get her in here and discuss what's happening. That's all I can say.
It is a
'Cause
problem.
We assume, and that's a bad word, assume, but once it goes out of here through our town clerk, it's going to be up there.
Because we like to be knowledgeable about what you're going to discuss at the meeting. I mean,
And we're not trying to hide it,
I
as you
know
well
you're
know.
not. I know, but it's, I
Okay.
was on today and I couldn't find it.
You're right. I was on there. I did look too, and it wasn't up
You know, I
there.
like to know
23rd of
what's
May.
going
You're
on
right.
or try to keep up with it. I
Might be-
think it should be addressed.
It will be.
I'm sure we could, yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
we can work harder, and you're right. You're absolutely
know.
right. Everybody should be well aware of what's going on.
I like to know what's going
Yeah,
on.
absolutely. I did look and like I said, it's not,
Yeah.
it wasn't up. So maybe we can work
The
harder
whole-
to
the
get that
whole
addressed for
reason
you.
For pushing our agenda meeting 2 weeks earlier was to try and give staff and everybody time to get those on there. Oh, let me ask you a question. Are any of these things that you think we should put off so people have more time to study?
I haven't even had time to read through it, to be honest with you, Jim, I have to think
hear you.
about it. It's,
Some of them are kind of time critical. that's
Yeah,
all.
so there's some things on here that have to be taken care of.
thank you.
We'll inform her.
Yeah, we're-
Yes.
I'd like to do better at that though. Really would.
Mhm.
Suzanne Robbins from Pine Hill Colony, and I
Right.
know this was not posted on your agenda, but I was wondering if any progress has been made on the gazebo.
We did that months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did that months ago. Last month. No, more than last.
No, April 19th.
April, yeah.
Okay, I didn't receive.
We
any.
approved.
Your name is?
Suzanne Robbins.
Okay. We've been in contact with who else?
Probably Joanne, a
Yes,
Quadro.
yes, yeah.
Okay,
Joanne.
she's your president?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
I'm
communicating
chair of
with
the
Joanne.
board and she's president.
Okay.
She's been notified. We did pass a resolution for that.
Okay, and as far as a lease, has that been drawn up
That's
yet? or-
been signed and everything.
Yeah.
Signed and
And
returned.
She has a copy of it then?
Yeah.
She should have.
Oh, because I just saw her last week and she said she didn't get
Okay.
anything on it.
I,
I'll-
I sent her an email, I believe, the day after we approved it. There was it was subject to a permissive referendum.
Uh-huh,
And I believe she said that she was going to bring it up in the July board meeting.
yes.
And so that's, I think, when she would have the authority to sign it on behalf of the association.
Okay. All right, very good. I'll check.
But
that with-
if she needs another copy, or if the copy that I sent her didn't get through or something like that, let me know.
Yeah, well, I know you were conversing with me too and, sending emails to me as well as Joanne. And I haven't heard anything, so that's why I was wondering. Okay. All right,
All right, thank you.
you're welcome. Thank you.
Howard.
Thank you. Howard Schaefer, with the Historical Society. And did you ever wonder how the town of Lake Luzerne got its name? Well, it's something that a number of us from the Historical Society have been discussing over the past few months. I first want to say thank you to the town board, Warren County, and Supervisor Merlino for advocating for our occupancy tax grant. We are appreciative of that, and that money will go a long way. But in asking the question, how did the town of Lake Luzerne get its name? I'll be brief. The Hadley Lake Luzerne Historical Society is kicking off its 50th anniversary celebration in 2023 with the launch of a 2-year project entitled What's in a Name? On Wednesday, August 3rd, and working with the Cindy Sherwood will hopefully look to nail down this date with your approval. The Historical Society would like to present to the town board an unveiling of a portrait of Champagne. The pronunciation is Le Chevalier Diplomat de la Luzerne, who was a French diplomat who lived in the late 1770s, 1780s, and was very close with the founding fathers. Richard Dresner, who's a board member of our Historical Society, has been doing a tremendous amount of research on Luzerne and finding out about his role in the American Revolution and in the French and Indian War. It's really, really interesting. So he is bid on a handwritten letter that he won at an auction that he is donating to the Historical Society. And with that, he is underwriting with a grant to the Historical Society, a portrait that's identical to that portrait which hangs in the National Portrait Gallery in Washington, D.C. And we would like to be able to have an unveiling of this special piece of history with the Lake Luzerne Town Board on Wednesday, August 3rd. So we'll look to hopefully having a time that could work for the town board. This is something that's going to be meaningful for our historic preservation, our tourism, and something that's really special in the partnership between the Historical Society and the town board.
That was just discussed today, so that day is clear.
Right, there's no meetings that night.
Great.
We just
Thank you.
discussed it today.
Howard, could you give us I think it's 6 dates of the programs you have coming this summer?
Yeah, we will.
I think people would be interested. I know
Yeah.
I'm interested. in
No,
about
I
3 of them.
appreciate that. We'll make certain that we get it to the point person for Cindy for the town website. So that way all those programs could be promoted. We appreciate that opportunity.
Person for the website.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you.
Okay,
Howard.
thank you.
Thank you, Howard.
Yes, it is. Everybody here will get notification of it. That's Wednesday, August 3rd. Everybody will be hearing about it. Right here.
All right, now we'll move on to the resolutions. Cindy will take that now.
Resolution 89 of 2022, resolution to pay the bills of the 6th abstract of 2022, numbered and totaled as follows. General Fund, number 155 through 229, in the amount of $54,227.11. Highway Fund, number 230 to 254, the amount of $13,970.35. Lake Luzerne Water, 255 to 267, $7,368.35. Hudson Grove Water, number 268, $14,904.55. Is there a motion?
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution 90 of 2022, resolution to accept town board minutes of April 19. Tom Reed public hearing, April 29 workshop on Part Bs, April 29th meeting, May 3rd special meeting, May 12th special meeting, May 9th board meeting, May 23rd agenda meeting. If you haven't reviewed them and you don't want to do that, that's fine with me. I'll go ahead and put them up.
I'd like a table till the next meeting,
Okay.
please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Resolution 91 of 2022, resolution to establish the standard workday and reporting requirements for elected and appointed officials. Resolved that the town of Lake Luzerne hereby established the following standard workdays for these titles and will report officials to the New York state and local retirement system based on the record of activities. This was sent to me because certain terms expired. So Ron Dool's term, January 1, 2022 to December 31, 2025. Cynthia Sherwood, current term begins and ends January 1, 2022 to 12/31/2025. Supervisor Merlino, term begins January 1, 2022 and ends 12/31/2023. Melissa Janier, our sole assessor, and her term is 10 of 2019 to 10 of 2025. Resolved that the town clerk shall post this resolution as required by New York State law.
I believe there's been an error.
Which
I've
is,
never heard of an 8-day week.
excuse me,
Standard work day, is that 8 hours or 8 days?
those numbers are assigned, it's a value assigned based on a record of activities. It's the standard work day is 8 hours in the highway.
Okay.
7 in my office, 6 in the supervisor's office, 6 is the minimum.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second
All in favor?
it.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution 92 of 2022, resolution to reimburse Philip Marquis in connection with water meter. Whereas in connection with property known as 487 Lake Avenue in the town, there was an issue concerning the installation of meters that resulted in duplicate and excessive billing. Resolved that the town hereby approves of a reimbursement to Philip Marquis, the owner of 487 Lake Avenue, in the amount of $1,152.30. Is there a motion?
I'll make it.
Question, Cindy?
Yep.
That's supposed to come out of the water board?
Well, it's the town board reimbursing out of the water district.
Okay.
So
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution 93 of 2022, resolution introducing proposed local law to increase the salary of the town clerk, town justices, highway superintendent, and supervisor. Whereas a notice of public hearing indicated that the salary of the town clerk for 2022 was $40,170. And whereas the notice of public hearing indicated that the salary of town justices for 2022 was $14,523. And whereas the notice of public hearing indicated the salary of the highway superintendent for 2022 was $55,401 and was later increased to $58,401 by local law to correct a clerical error. And whereas the notice of public hearing indicated that the salary of the town supervisor for 2022 was $32,960. Whereas pursuant to town law, section 27, a town may increase the salary of an elected official in excess of the amount specified in the notice of public hearing by adopting a local law, subject to permissive referendum. And whereas the local law to increase the salary of the town clerk, town justices, highway superintendent, and town supervisor by 3% for fiscal year 2022 has been prepared. Now therefore be it resolved by the town board of Lake Luzerne as follows. A public hearing shall be scheduled for the consideration of proposed local law to be held by the town board on, I don't know when that is yet. And the town clerk is directed to post and publish a notice of said public hearing in the official newspaper at least 5 days before the hearing. The resolution shall take effect immediately.
Right. How about we do it for the next meeting, July 11th?
Is that-
We'll hold it until the public hearing on July 11th.
July 11th is fine, or you can do it at the agenda meeting, either or.
Okay, or we can do it at the agenda meeting? Okay, the agenda meeting was.
You can have a public hearing.
last Monday,
Yeah,
the
You can have a
27th.
public hearing whenever you
Alright.
set it.
All right, we could do it on the 27th then, just to end it
Of June.
of June. That's,
That'll be the agenda meeting.
At 7 o'clock.
It's our agenda meeting.
Mhm.
I like that better.
Mm-hmm.
5 days, yeah.
So we're going to fill that blank in, Cindy.
June 27 at 7 PM.
7
Yep.
p.m.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution 94 of 2022, resolution setting a salary of Lonnie Rumpf. Whereas the town board previously hired Lonnie Rumpf as a full-time employee of the Buildings and Grounds Department. Now therefore be it resolved that Lonnie Rumpf hourly pay rate shall be set at $15.97 per hour.
I'll make a motion.
Okay. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution 95 of 2022, resolution to authorize payment to Labella Associates. Whereas town previously contracted with Labella Associates for engineering services related to the Lake Luzerne Dam. Whereas the town board previously authorized payment to Labella Associates in the amount of $25,501.29. And whereas there was a clerical error in the approval of this payment, as the correct amount due was the correct amount was $29,501.29, creating a payment shortfall of $4,000. And whereas invoice number 164350 in the amount of $6,366.25 was subsequently received. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby authorizes a payment in the amount of $10,366.25 to Labella Associates. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion, but I'd like a little bit of discussion.
I'd like to know what the additional $6,366.25 was put
You
in
need a
there.
second before you can have a discussion.
Okay.
I'll make the second. Go ahead.
Is it in the abstract?
This 6,300, I believe, was the extra work that was required to
part of the
report to
bill.
the state.
Mhm. To report it to the state.
I know we had an extra. I don't remember the amount, but I think that's it.
I forgot.
Is that helpful?
That was for the additional.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the one they did the water flow rates and everything else.
Yeah, they wanted more,
DEC wanted more
Yeah.
distance and flow.
Okay,
rates.
as long as, I thought that's what it was, but
more, basically more flood.
how much water's coming into the
Prediction.
lake and the whole line
Yeah,
and what it can take out.
right.
Yeah, I remember it now. Thank you.
There was surveying involved and stuff like that.
Yeah.
All right, so we got a motion and a second. Okay,
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Number 96 is to hire Lonnie Rumpf, which we've already done. So I think we could probably remove that one. We have to amend it to remove it, or?
No, we can,
Just do it.
no, you don't need a resolution to remove it. You can
Just remove
yeah,
it.
Just remove it.
that's a duplicate. Flip over it, and then renumber 97 to 96.
Okay. Okay. So resolution 96 of 2022 is now resolution authorizing and approving the hiring of, is his name Kevin Joyner,
Cohen, Kohen,
as deputy zoning enforcement officer. Resolve the town board has determined that it's in the best interest of the town to hire and hereby authorizes the hiring of Cohen Joyner as a part-time deputy zoning enforcement officer for 20 hours per week at $16 per hour plus $75 for attendance at any planning or zoning Board of Appeals meeting. And we added language, Councilman Niles added language
Yes.
that,
You want me to read it?
yes,
I would suggest right after $75, we say per meeting to attend all planning and zoning board of appeals meetings and to take minutes of meetings and transcribe on their own time. In other words, $75 per meeting is above and beyond the $16 an hour, and it's on their own time to go to the meetings and transcribe the minutes. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution 97 of 2022, resolution authorizing and approving the hiring of Elliot Schreiber as constable. Resolved, the town board has determined that it's in the best interest of the town to hire and hereby authorizes the hiring of Elliot Schreiber as a part-time constable at an annual salary of $5,000, and further directs that all duties and responsibilities of the constable shall be in accordance with local law number 1 of 2021 of the town. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution 98 of 2022, authorizing the expansion of the Town Advisory Committee and to appoint certain persons thereto. Whereas the town board has determined that it is in the best interest of the town to expand the Town Advisory Committee to include a position for an alternate and to fill said position. Whereas in addition, there is currently a vacancy on the Town Advisory Committee, which the town intends to fill. Resolved that the town board hereby appoints Sonia Harris to the Town Advisory Committee to fill the existing vacancy. Resolved that the town board hereby expands the advisory committee to include an alternate position and hereby appoints Eileen Hickey to serve as an alternate.
Make a motion.
I'll second.
I want to clarify something. I sent an email to Eileen Hickey asking if she would serve as the alternate, and the email kicked back, and I don't have a phone number for her. So I'd like to go forward with this resolution. Is she here? Are you okay with being the alternate? Yes. Great. I'm done.
Could you give us an update on the phone number?
Maybe she doesn't want to give out her phone number.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Yes.
Do you have my
Preferably
email?
privately.
If you have my email, give it to me and I'll send it to
Yeah,
Tracy.
there you
She'll
go.
put it on the
That's
process.
even better.
Okay, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution 99 of 2022, resolution rejecting all sealed truck bids opened at the April 26, 2022. Whereas sealed bids were received by the town board and opened on April 26, 2022 for a 2000 or newer truck with plow option, and whereas it has been determined by the town board of Lake Luzerne that it's in the best interest of the town to reject all bids opened and received on April 26, 2022. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board rejects all sealed bid truck bids opened and received on April 26, 2022. Is there a motion?
Make a motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution 100 of 2022, resolution to give notice to bidders that the town of Lake Luzerne will accept sealed bids for 2000 or newer truck with plow option, sander, and 8-way V plow. Whereas the town board has rejected all sealed truck bids opened and received on April 26, 2022 for one 2000 or newer truck with plow option. And whereas it has been determined that it's in the best interest of the town to give notice to bidders that the town of Lake Luzerne will accept new bids for one truck with the updated specifications. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board will give notice to bidders that the town will accept sealed bids at the town hall until 7 PM on July 11, 2022 for one 2000 or newer truck with plow option, sander, and 8-way V plow. And be it further resolved that sealed bids will be opened publicly and read aloud at the next regular town board meeting on July 11th, 2022 at 7:10 PM.
And make a motion.
Yeah, I'll second it.
All in favor?
You made the
Aye.
Aye.
notice of bid. Yeah. The attorney.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution 101 of 2022. Resolution to advertise for position with buildings and grounds. Resolved that the town board hereby directs the town clerk to post a job opportunity for an opening in the Buildings and Grounds Department that seeks a person with a minimum Class B driver's license and sets the pay at $18 per hour. Resolved that said posting shall require all interested applicants to submit his or her resume and or application to the town clerk no later than
I would say 30 days after post,
30
if everybody else is okay with that.
I'll make it. Board meeting. That roughly.
Do that.
It's fine with me.
Yeah.
to motion.
I'll make
Yes.
it.
Second,
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution 102 of 2022, resolution to authorize the purchase of septic tank for Pierpont, that's a P, Pierpont Beach. Whereas the existing septic tank at Pierpont Beach is in need of replacement, and whereas the town has obtained 3 written quotes for a replacement tank and additional requires accessories, and whereas the lowest quote received was from FW Webb, Queensbury, New York, in the amount of $1,788.88 for the tank and $102.57 for the tank alarm. Whereas an application has been submitted to the New York State Department of Health in connection with replacement and installation of the sewer tank. Resolved that upon approval by the New York State Department of Health of the application to replace and install a new sewer tank at Pierpont Beach, the town hereby authorizes the purchase of a new sewer tank and tank alarm from FW Webb in the total amount of $1,891.45. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
With discussion, could,
Do you guys have a gallon total for that?
1,000.
1,000? Also, is that under in the application as a holding tank, or are you guys planning on trying to hook up to this?
This is a holding tank.
Just, yeah.
This is
It's
also
a-
why they, go ahead, Jim.
It's a septic tank that's going to be used as a holding tank.
Correct.
My application to the state spells that out. That's why they wanted the alarm on it, so that, the alarm goes off wherever we set it.
they'll get over.
So we know to have it come and pumped out.
We had met with Cookie. He recommended 1,500 gallons because that's a full truck. You can do it. We should be able to do it once a year, but I don't know if you guys think 1,000 is better.
When we looked at the site, the consensus was 1,000 gallons.
Because we're gonna only use it 2, maybe 3 months a year. It's
Okay.
not a whole year.
Part of that logic was the size, pretty tight. 1,000 gallons is 10'6" long. Let's put that maple tree's got to come down. It's probably that bench won't be able to be there either. So it's going to be 2/3. It's going to be more than 2/3 of the way down from the building to the stairs.
Okay,
I don't have dimensions on a 1,500 because I got the 1,000.
all right. I was just, it wasn't stated, so I was just questioning.
All right.
Mhm.
Okay. So we got a motion and a second.
Yes.
It's a poly.
Plastic.
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 Yep, it's a poly tank.
You can't put a regular tank in there anymore because we're too close to the water.
If it's not maintained in full constantly, that fiberglass tanks will pop out the ground.
We realize that.
Thank you. Fred.
Thank you,
Who
Freddie.
seconded the motion? Gene made the
I
motion.
made the, who said?
I'll make a motion.
What, I say, I made it.
Second.
You're second then.
I'll second it. Jack Karen.
Yes, sir.
It can't overflow, it's sealed.
The toilet could.
The toilet could, yes, Jack.
Yeah.
No, it's a single. Correct. It's a single.
It's up.
99 feet.
You're up a
the
bit
edge
of a
the
ways on
building
the
is
hill.
99 feet. from
Yeah,
water.
we got good drainage. It's pretty good there.
State law says 100 feet.
Part of our,
Where's the water today and where's the water tomorrow?
part of the reason that when I was doing the drawing, I thought about that, but I'm not worried about it. When we uncovered the existing tank, it's 85% full of dirt now. It was a 4-foot diameter steel tank, the top caved in.
That was all the result of rubble and all the.
Yeah, so we made it through last year using that much at the top of the tank.
Hmm.
So what I'm saying is I think 1,000 gallons will probably get us through the whole summer.
Should.
Anyways,
This little kid loses it
Might go
running.
through 2 years.
and the state required that alarm. By the way, I left a message with them late today to find out the status of our application, but he didn't get back to me yet. But in all fairness to the state, I didn't call until 4:30 this afternoon.
Have we thought about putting the motion censored faucets in?
I haven't.
Just so that if someone doesn't, if it's gonna be a holding tank, someone can't leave the water on to fill a tank.
Oh, no, we've discussed that.
I think we're gonna,
The faucets are gonna be just turned on and then they're off. They can't leave them on.
Spring loaded.
Oh, the spring
Spring
loaded
loaded,
ones.
change
Yes,
the wa-
yes,
the-
yes, yes.
the
They're a pain
faucets
to
in the-
use,
in the
but they are,
bathrooms.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, we talked about
they're
that.
not fun to use, but
Patricia.
Yes, Patricia.
Did I understand you to say that it's legal to have a septic tank within 100 feet of running water if it's plastic, it's fiberglass?
That's what
It
we
is
put
a
in the
holding
application.
tank.
yeah, it's a pump out. There's no
We have
seepage or
to
leakage
have a person
anywhere.
come in and pump it out.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
the-
new construction cannot put in a regular septic tank?
With a leach field and all that.
yeah,
No, they
There's
can't
not
do
gonna be
that.
any leach field on this.
Nope.
No, I'm talking about other things.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Schaefer.
Is the,
Speak up, speak up, speak up.
Is the installation of that going to affect the beach at all?
Well, I was just talking to Ron today and we're still waiting for the permit to come in. And we're waiting for the permit to come in before we take the other one out. If it comes into the season of like July, something, we will cordon off a part of that beach to take care of the job. All right, I no other questions? Call, okay, I'm sorry.
The one other question, will we, was there ever, I don't remember if there was a discussion on, in the interim of it getting fixed for a porta potty or no?
We have cook septic ready if we.
If it need
to put
be.
Porta potties down there.
Good.
So we had a motion, we had a second, we had a discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
If opposed? Carried. Resolution 103 of 2022, resolution to keep kayak rack at its current location. Whereas discussion has had regarding relocating the existing kayak rack. And whereas town board has determined that it's in the best interest of the town to keep the kayak rack at its current location, be resolved that it's hereby approved that the town shall keep the kayak rack at its existing location on Sylvan Road parking lot at the south end of the Pavilion Park.
I'll make that motion.
I second it.
I'd like to know why there was no public involved in the discussion.
Well, wasn't there public last month when we were talking about it was here?
Yep.
No public was involved in the discussion of them being moved in the first place, and then you guys decided that they're in the best place, but there was no input from.
I don't, not to interrupt you. Not to interrupt you. I don't believe it required a public hearing. If it was anything,
Did you require one to move them in the first place? I'm just curious.
well, if it's town property and town put it up, I would imagine the town would reserve that right to put it where the town would think it was most beneficial.
Town board was in on that.
There's nothing to be in on. It's just, we thought it was better just to, you know what, just leave it where it is for now. There's no, that's basically what it was. That's all.
But last year, when they were moved, there was never any discussion.
On last year when they moved them, there was no discussion when they moved them. Is that what you're saying?
When they were moved from the original location they've been in for many, many, many years to their new location, there was no discussion.
I understand. Yeah, I guess no one's really going to be happy with it. You're gonna have some people, yeah, I understand. I understand.
Not the people who use the kayaks.
Is there information that we haven't heard either at the last meeting or otherwise that we should hear before we work on this resolution?
Well, I spoke at the last meeting, I
Right.
sent a letter, but I never heard from anybody.
But is there more information available for this board to make the decision than what we've already got?
Well,
In other words, is there any reason to delay a vote?
There isn't, but I don't understand why the people who use those stands weren't asked for their input. It was a decision made the year before by a few people on the board, and then it's been a decision made by everybody, but there was never any input from the people who use the kayak stands. So that was my issue. They were moved without any notification to us or any questioning, any discussion. They were just moved.
I'm trying to figure out if we should table it. And I'm asking, is there more information available than what we got in the last 30 days about this issue?
I don't know. The only information that I know you got is the letter I wrote, and then last year a petition that I sent in with names of people who use the kayak stands who wanted them moved back. But that was, there was a different board here at that time. So I don't know what other information you have. I just know that the people who use the stands haven't been asked or invited to come to a meeting or asked to discuss it.
Okay, thank you.
Where are we at?
You got a first and a second.
Got a first and second?
Are you going to take a vote?
Probably ought to do a roll call. Right.
Okay. Councilman Hanlon,
Here.
it's yes or no.
Oh, yes. Jeez, I'm sorry. A roll call. Is it dinner time yet? or-
Councilman Lewandowski,
I said I would vote at the last meeting. I would vote abstained at this present time.
Councilman Niles,
Yes.
Supervisor Molino.
And I'll abstain also.
And where does that leave us?
But you don't have enough, doesn't pass.
Doesn't
No
pass.
quorum.
Okay.
While we're on the topic. So it doesn't pass, stays where it is, yeah. I mean, the public can bring it back if they want. Right?
I mean, you can discuss it and address it again in another agenda meeting if there's more discussion to be had on it or more plans to consider. And bring a vote back on either a new resolution or the same resolution when Councilman Fazio is here as well, but at this point in time, just nothing happened. There's no action.
Okay.
We take the 103 off,
No,
so we can bring it back up at the agenda meeting and maybe put out a little blurb on the YouTube about anybody has any feelings about the subject.
It would be the responsibility of the public.
Yeah. They have to just
Right.
send us some notes, let us know.
Yeah.
Re-resolute it.
Right.
It's there.
So as far as I'm concerned, right now, it's dead unless the public brings it back up again.
All right.
There it is.
Resolution 104 of 2022, accepting purchase order number PO 00235580 from New York State DEC. Resolved, Highway Superintendent Dool is hereby authorized to take the necessary actions to accept purchase order number 00235580 in the amount of $50,000 for maintenance regarding the Hudson River Special Management Area. Is there a motion?
Make a motion.
It's 105, right, Cindy?
104. They're changing all these.
Oh. Sorry, I slept
took-
through that
we
one.
took
Mine
Lonnie
says
Rumfeld.
105.
Yeah.
We
104 with the
removed, we
kayak.
removed a resolution that had
Well-
already been done.
Yes,
So
we
we're
removed one,
renumbering.
so
So now they gotta be renumbered. So it's 104.
104, we're good. Panic, panic.
Drop one.
Right.
I'll make that motion.
One second.
No,
No, wait a minute. I already made the motion.
You made the motion.
Wait a minute.
And I'll second.
There you go.
Jerry got it written down.
I know. Me too.
okay. Discussion?
None.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution 105 of 2022, resolution amending the Town of Lake Luzerne Employee Handbook. Whereas the Town of Lake Luzerne has an employee handbook dated January 1, 2013, and whereas the town board has amended its employee handbook from time to time, and whereas the town board has determined that it's in the best interests of the town to amend its employee handbook to allow paid time off to be taken in hourly increments. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Lake Luzerne Employee Handbook is amended to read as follows. Section 7C, scheduling. All vacations shall be scheduled in advance by the department head under whom each employee works, giving preference wherever practical to seniority. All vacation days shall be working days, and all vacation time must be taken in no less than 1 hour increments. Section 7E, allowable days, vacation pay earned shall be paid in 1 hour increments. No employee shall work and draw vacation pay for the same day unless directed to do so by his or her supervisor. Section 8E, accumulation, the working days per year allowed to an employee for such leave with pay may be accumulated up to a maximum of 165 days and kept to his or her credit for future sick leave with pay. Employees shall be allowed to take sick leave in no less than 1 hour increments. Section 9E, requirements for use. Personal leave shall be granted only by prior approval of the department head and only at the time convenient to the department and may be taken in no less than 1 hour increments. Is there a motion?
Make a motion.
Second,
Second.
discussion?
Yeah, I think we should just point out that this was really generated at the request of some town employees. And the biggest change here is they used to only be able to put in for 4-hour blocks. Is that correct, Logan?
Yes.
And several employees have said that's crazy if you got a doctor's appointment at 1 At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you have to take a half a day off. So that's that, just so everybody knows,
Bless you.
that's the gist of this.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
That's it for the resolutions.
Hold on. You got a hand.
Can you come up here, please, so that even people out there can hear you?
I mean, this would affect me. When you're saying giving preference wherever practical to seniority, the senior person always gets the first dibs. That doesn't seem fair.
To-
You know,
to
when
me-
you're
to
giving
me,
time off.
Seniority
if
means
you-
the guy that's been there the longest. The
Pardon?
person, to me, seniority means the person that's been there the longest. I don't think it's an age issue. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying age.
Mm.
I'm saying time, the person who has the most time.
Well, if you
That's
have
what
6
seniority
people want to
is.
go on vacation the same time, this is the easiest way the senior man
But
gets.
if this person wants Christmas, this person wants New Year's, I mean,
That's a labor relations type.
yeah,
We did my previous job.
that would be.
It
sticky.
was by seniority and we had punch dates. You were responsible to show up and sit for 16 hours to wait until the time we could punch to get Christmas off. A lot of it was run by seniority.
Mhm.
No, I mean, seniority is bad until you have it. Then it's
Right.
good.
I mean, for the
It's
person. who
great.
just
It
started.
really is horrible until you actually have it. It was horrible
Yeah.
for me for 15 years. I got the end of every deal. I got the raw end and then I had it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And
So, yeah,
unfortunately,
I don't know.
That's been in every location.
Yeah,
I've ever
yeah.
worked.
The town employees do get several paid holidays.
Mhm. Yeah,
So your example is not exactly right.
If the
Yeah, I know.
employees
Like
came
if-
to us with something and said, hey, we all agree on this and a more
Yeah.
equitable way to do it, that we'd change it. I don't know, maybe.
I didn't, Jim,
Open
I
for
didn't
discussion.
mean Christmas. I mean, like the day before, the day after. You know.
and unfortunately, if
It's just
some,
something I wanted to point out.
if somebody requested that off and we had a snowstorm or something, no one voids any days that we had off and everybody's called in. So
Mm.
at that point, it's not applicable.
Just a point.
Thank you.
That's a good point.
We'll see how it works. We get any complaints, look into making a different change. All right. We'll go on to reports. Michael Crowe, attorney.
Got a call from Councilman Fazio and the Highway Superintendent about some drainage infrastructure. Not sure if you know where it was. Lou, but-
Pleasant View
Okay.
off of Beach Road.
And it needs to be updated or improved or.
That storm we had in the spring, the culvert there's a 2 catch basins that go into another catch basin. And then you have a 36-inch pipe going underneath the road that goes all the way out to the river. The section underneath the road failed and the road collapsed. We tried to piece in a section underneath the road, but when we excavated it to replace it, the bottom of the pipe is rotted out, so it wasn't able to just be replaced underneath the road. It's gonna have to be replaced all the way to the all the way to the river.
Okay. And so we pulled, and that's all private property, I understand, from the road.
From the edge of the road to the river is.
So we pulled the deeds and the title history for that. There isn't an easement to the town for the infrastructure. So we're gonna have to prepare an easement that gives the town the rights to have that culvert, the infrastructure in place, as well as the right to go in and fix it from time to time. So that's gonna be coming down the road, probably at the agenda meeting to get that. So that's the only thing that I have.
Property owners have to abide by that.
They have to grant it, which I believe from my discussions with Ron, that's not a problem. If it is a problem, there's other mechanisms that the town can entertain. But as long as, they're willing and the town is willing, then it's just going to be kind of backfilling the paperwork.
So you'll take care of all that paperwork then.
Yeah, we'll take care of the paperwork. There'll just be a little bit of details to put into place with Ron. And yeah, I think that he'll get the signatures from the property owner and we'll get it filed.
How many property owners?
I believe just the one.
Just the one. What else do you have?
That's it for me.
Okay. Highway Superintendent, you're taking in for Ron today?
Yep.
All right. what do you got?
We were able to get Hawk Road and Ivy Lane both paved last week, so those are both off our list. Within the next couple weeks, we'll be milling half a mile on the mountain road to get that ready for blacktop. And hopefully scheduling with them to do that section on River Road as well while they're in town. So that's what we have for the next, and then we're gonna be starting the water line up on Circular.
Okay, that's it?
Yep.
Thank you. Zoning enforcement, Karen Putty?
He has a question.
What?
I don't know, we haven't really opened it up to public comment yet.
You can't, yeah, you gotta wait till the end. Thank you. Karen?
Okay. I'm gonna pass down these little packets. Paul Lewandowski had asked me, I don't know if my mic is working.
It is, I hear it.
Had asked me to put together whatever information I had on the RV situation that we've discussed in the past. So I'm going to provide these to you. It contains my zoning report from August 2020. Following that was a discussion at the town board meeting by the legal counsel, Bob Regan, at the time, what he had put in there. Also, in April of 2021, there's Attorney Mitchell had talked about the issue in an agenda meeting. So you can each take one of those. That's the paperwork that I have. We had we've had a lot of discussion this month about RVs again. And it's an ongoing issue. We've never resolved it. We had taken it to the planning board. The planning board suggested having anyone that wanted an RV on their property go through a site plan review. The board, when it was presented to the board had many comments about that. They wanted other things done. It never got passed. Then when Attorney Mitchell was here, he suggested that we put a moratorium on them and brought that at that agenda meeting. That's what that discussion was. And it was tabled again because no one could agree on what to do. And it's not ever been resolved. And there are many of them in town. As you know, the zoning ordinance is written in residential areas. You can only park and store RVs, boats, etc., in your side and rear yard. They're all over town. Their boats and RVs are all over town, parked everywhere. It's not something that I'm enforcing because there's just too many of them. It was discussed back in, I think, 2013 by the board. They had a public meeting on it, if I am correct, Cindy. Is that correct? The meeting back, it was at 2013 when it was discussed at the board, and in the end, it was just left. The people that had them could leave them.
Oh, you're referencing, yes.
The RVs.
Meeting where some people on the river came in. I don't know if any of you people were here, except Jean. Yeah, there's precedent in the minutes.
And just one, I think a lot of that, because actually Ron and I just looked at something today when we were out. You get a lot of people along River Road there. There's no front. I mean, there's only a front. There's really no back because the river's there. And there's not enough room either way, left and right, because there are a couple, we saw some boats and campers right off the side of the road. So there's areas where I thought the variance part would be better off to get each individual case
Well, it was going to be a site plan review, but
Yeah,
it never got
site
passed.
plan
But
never got
that's the
passed.
history of it. It needs to be revisited. It needs to be something resolved. Whether you do a moratorium and then rewrite the zoning ordinance, that was what the intention was, is when we worked on the comprehensive plan, that the zoning ordinance would get changed at that time and incorporate the RVs into it at that point. But it hasn't been done. So it needs to be revisited at some point.
Karen, can I interrupt just for a second?
Sure.
I reached out via email and voicemail and asked former attorney Regan if he had drafted. And I just did that earlier today, mid-morning. I suspect he may not respond, but
Yeah, in the paperwork that I gave you, it references a local law number 2 of 2000 and something. And I don't have a copy of that, and neither does the town clerk have a copy of that. I believe that it was something that Attorney Reagan got ready. And then when the discussion at the town board, wasn't resolved, it was just pushed aside and no one got a copy of it. So I don't even know what was in the body of that local law that he was
We may have to-
presenting at that time.
we may have to start all over.
We probably will have to start all over.
Karen, wasn't there a letter sent from the board, zoning board, to us also? Their recommendation?
No, I just presented it at that meeting.
I know we had a big lengthy discussion about it,
Mhm.
but I thought there was paperwork along with that from your,
I don't have it in my record. I'll go back through my computer and my documents, but I didn't have it in the record. I've kind of kept all of that stuff with one particular file, and I don't have a
do you
letter.
remember that, Jim? You were on that board at the time, I believe, correct?
I was on the zoning board, not the planning board.
Sorry.
Yeah, Karen's,
In my report of August 10th of 2020, it says,
I see it.
discussion of regulations regarding recreational vehicles on properties called for a workshop meeting on July 30th. Town attorney will discuss the planning board's recommendations. That came from the town attorney. It didn't come from me as a
Okay.
result of that
Okay.
workshop.
That certainly
And that's
sounds,
where he introduced,
certainly sounds like he presented something to the planning board.
Right.
Yeah, it does.
To the planning board.
to the town board. Because he was part of the discussion with the planning board to make that recommendation that it be done under site plan review. Chairman Karinsky is here from the planning board tonight. Is that what you recall happened?
I actually got an email saying that we had a meeting on July 27th.
Okay.
I don't know if we discussed.
Do you recall seeing a proposed,
Yeah, we got, I got an email. We had a meeting.
But do you remember anything in writing, a proposal in writing?
like a draft legislation?
Just a workshop.
When's your next meeting, Karen?
Our planning board meeting is the 22nd.
Could it be possible that your recommendations from your board be passed on to us?
Yeah,
It looks
we
like-
can do, we can.
It looks like we
revisit
gotta
it,
get
but-
something started again, which is, counterproductive, but as we all know, I know you're getting bombarded in your office because of this situation. And I think the quicker it's done and get it over with,
All right, we'll
it's gotta
revisit
be
it.
done.
And I think one of the things that Karen mentioned was having some input from the master plan, or if the committee, the committee. They're looking at kind of the overarching, how the zoning law interacts with the current needs and future direction of the town. That's something that I think, they should also be able to weigh in on, so that we don't pass something now and then they take a look at it and we pass a whole new zoning ordinance, in.
Well, that's no different than the Airbnb situation also.
Right.
That's the next.
We've got to take care of that.
That could be a year or two.
Right.
Hopefully not.
I'm looking for Karen's reaction to that statement.
You came back and said that you were hoping to have the comprehensive plan done within a year. And I'm assuming, I don't know how that works, whether the zoning ordinance is revised in that year, or if after it's adopted, then they look at the zoning ordinance and try to realign it with the ideas from the comprehensive plan. Is that
The zoning revisions are a separate project.
okay?
So it would be after the completion of the master plan.
All right, so you're.
I think at this stage of the game, though, if we have to rewrite it in a future date, okay? This is a pretty high question right now from people. her
They are all
office,
over town.
okay, townspeople. And like I said, if we have to make an adjustment in the future for the comprehensive plan or the other one, we do it at that stage of the game.
I'll bring it up at the planning board. We'll revisit it.
Thank you.
Yep. You have my zoning report. You have my zoning report. The signs that I had talked about before that I reported were going to be brown and yellow are done. They are red and white. I think that the person that got the work order to do the signs, when he called me and said they would be brown and yellow, brown and gold, I think he was probably told by his supervisor. I said they were white and red. They are white and red. They are put up around town at every entrance into the town, and that has been done by the highway department. So I thank them for their help with that. The only other issue, and I think perhaps Councilman Niles is going to address this, is we had an issue at the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting where when we tried to get onto the Zoom meeting, we were able to get into Zoom. What we had an issue with was getting into the portion that allowed us to record for YouTube. And apparently a password got changed somewhere by someone. We had no record of it. And thankfully, our Zoom guy, Chris Casay, was able to figure it out, and he got hold of some, Jamie Krantz, I believe, and they got it up and running. It did delay our meeting for about 10 minutes, but that password is an issue that if it gets changed, the people that use the system need to be aware that the password has changed because it held up our meeting.
Can I make a call? I did call and I talked to her personally. Somehow we have to think down the road to take this system and put it on its own, whatever you call that stuff out in space. Because this is on with the, website, on with a lot of things. So when she changes passwords to keep up on the security, I don't think she realized it hurt this part of our project. So I had a talk with her over the weekend 2 times, and it worked tonight well. And that's, if she has to change that password, she will call either myself or Cynthia.
That's why I need your email address.
So I think that part, what you're bringing up, I think it's solved.
Okay.
She didn't realize when she changed his password, it was affecting things that were not in her realm. But because it's under, you can explain it better than I can, but under the whole umbrella of what we do with Google and all that other stuff. So we're pretty, I think we're set now. And if it gets changed, we'll know in advance.
The other issue along with the computer is, I don't know if you've resolved this or not, is that one of the new laptops that we're using has a battery that it charges and then it goes dead very quickly. The only way that computer is usable is if it's plugged
Plugged
in.
in, like that one right there. So we're gonna get the other one and take care of the
And
other one.
another one has a space bar issue.
That,
Resolved with an update. They need to be serviced, the software, the operating system. needs to be
Okay.
programmed and serviced and attended to.
I just wanted to bring up those issues that we had had.
okay, we're gonna take care of those.
That's all I have.
Thank you. But I think Zoom is right on track now. I think we can hear the people out there and I think they can hear us. We also put about 3 weeks ago up something up in the ceiling over there. Don't ask me what it's for, but it's to help pick up the sound in here for people out there. This stuff is all Greek to me. I go to my 12-year-old grandson to help me out. All right, that's it, Karen.
Yes.
Cynthia Sherwood, town clerk.
3 things. I've distributed the town clerk monthly report to the supervisor for the month of May. Total shares remitted, $6,031. 2 communications from New York State Ag and Markets. They have done their inspection of the control officer, and everything was satisfactory with what they need from him. Also, our municipal shelter inspection report, Countryside Veterinary, and they inspected them and they were also satisfactory. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilman Hanlon.
The only thing I have is where we are with the suggestions for the Heights Beach, the repairs to the wall, and I think it's a great beach. Spent my childhood growing up on that beach, and it's a good asset to the town. I'd like to see the suggestions made by the
Association.
yeah, this lake association be taken up, and I think it's something we can do.
I spoke, unbeknown to you, I spoke to Buildings and Grounds last, I don't know, Thursday, Wednesday, someplace. Okay. Our head of that department is out right this minute. Okay. They are very much aware of the items that have got to be cleaned up. They've got a plan of attack, shall I call it, of what's going to be done. And hopefully be able to take care of a number of the items that are on your list. To take care of that up there.
I see some of the railings have already been painted.
Yeah.
The wall design.
The wall has been down, yes, for a couple of years. We know this, okay? And
deteriorating more than that.
hopefully that one section that's been kind of blown out, shall I say, should get repaired. Buildings and Grounds is also from now on in that one area. They'll do the plowing after the repair is done on the, what do I want to call it? The dam, a blacktop going toward the runoff area, so it doesn't go down. They plan on repairing that, and Buildings and Grounds are going to plow that from now on in that area. The bigger equipment, not knowing where that is, excuse me.
Less destructive.
Will be less destructive up in that area. Myself personally, I don't know if we can do it this year, but I'd like to see some possible flowers or something on that tiered area after we get the septic tank in and things of this sort, and dress up the area a little bit more. That's my opinion.
Thank you. Well taken. Is
Go
that
ahead.
going to be part of your
Other than-
report or?
Other than that, I have nothing. That's the only issue I had. And other than that, I'm nothing to report.
Mr. Lewandowski?
Real quick, I forgot one. I forgot the gentleman's name. It was referred to me. He wants to adopt a highway program from where the dirt road starts on River Road up to Thomas Road. I'm communicating with him. I said, they sketch out your plan. What do you want to do? What's going on in his head? You know, is he talking about going into the woods and dragging things out? Because I've gone up there and cleaned up a lot of stuff myself. different people that,
Well,
my
keep on
neighbors and
that.
stuff.
That's
Yeah, I'll keep
nice
on.
of
I
the
said,
volunteers.
he's he belongs to the organization up there in Buttermilk. I wish I had this. I don't have it with me. But I told him to come up with a plan, and I'd like to see him come to a board meeting, present to everybody at one time, and said he's gonna do that. So I'll stay in contact with him.
Keep on that one. That's.
Yes, that's
something
good.
important. All right, Mr. Lewandowski.
It was addressed to me recently, and I'd like to have a motion made truthfully in regards to the use of cell phones by our employees out in our field crews. I know other companies and other towns, you have a cell phone, you leave it in your vehicle, and that's where it stays. You can use it on your break time, your lunch time. Other than that, it's not to be on your person and be able to use during working hours, plain and simple. There's ways in case of emergencies, their families can get through their the supervisors. They carry phones, their deputies carry phones, and they can transfer the information if they have to get in regards to a health issue or a situation of that sort. But personal phones in that type of situation, unless authorized by the head person of that department.
What kind of grounds will we have for that?
I'd say that'd be something that amend into the employee manual so that just like everything else in it, an employee has noticed that this is what the requirements are for cell phone use. And I would agree with Councilman Lewandowski. It's not out of the ordinary for an employer to have some sort of cell phone policy. So I guess that would be my recommendation, is to bring it into the employee policy so that everybody's aware of it and has notice at least of what's going to be asked of them.
I agree.
Can you draft up some kind of phrasing or wording that we can use?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can I say something on that or no?
Yeah, go ahead.
We at the highway department, we use it quite often, especially in the wintertime, to communicate between trucks because the county has spoken to us at the county meeting several times about our usage of the radio. So that's something that we need to look into. Either if we can't use our cell phones, either need to get our own radio frequency so that we can talk.
What
with-
happened to the radio system you used to have?
We have it. It's the whole county, entire county, all the towns, county.
No, the private system we used to have.
We
Where'd
don't
that
have
go?
one.
Years ago, you had one.
Well, that was prior to my being here 11 years ago.
Well, you have your truck units or your truck radios.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
on
they
a,
run
we
it-
have
that
our
all goes
own,
through county.
each truck has their own
Goes off the
radio.
county repeater, goes,
Yep,
reviews
it's
and repeater.
every single town and county DPW on one frequency
I imagine you have the same problems the fire department does.
that they talk over each other.
And you just half mile, you can't hear the other guy's
So
radio.
especially now with the new cell phone
notorious for it
towers,
here.
we've been using that to communicate between job sites. Or if we need to get a hold of certain people. So I know it's been an issue with some stuff, but sometimes it's been beneficial for us. So,
That would guess it would go under unless otherwise directed. Hey, guys, tonight's plow night. Carry your cell phones. We gotta communicate. That'd be other unless otherwise directed. So it would fall underneath that, I guess.
Yeah.
What would be
It's terrible
involved to
around
add
here.
another frequency to the radios?
I think when we have looked
It's
into them in
radios.
the past, it's about $10,000. You have to get your own repeater
Yeah. that's
unless
not-
you did a truck to truck, but with
Not gonna
us,
work.
with being with Gage Hill to Hartman Loop, we can't communicate. They won't, truck to truck won't reach.
No.
So the basic problem that you're telling us is you're having the problem during winter time.
All the time.
Wintertime especially, but summertime storms,
Okay, so if we put it in there that storm related, be it,
well, if you put it in at the county, I mean, at the department head, Ronnie can make his own discretion on whether he wants them to have them at that point or not.
It's the clause unless otherwise directed. That is broad and that would cover anything Ronnie wanted to do for any situation unless otherwise directed. What's that mean? It means whatever he wants. If he says, that would cover all. I think everything, anything that would come up that a supervisor, highway supervisor would need them to use them for, that would,
Why don't we
that's for the attorney to.
Why don't we draft it up
Yeah.
and then have another discussion so people can be reacting to something specific?
Yes, I'd like to, yeah, definitely have.
I mean, he's bringing,
draw it up and
Logan's
then
bringing up a
talk.
good point.
It is, yeah, it is.
I mean, it's a valid discussion, but there's points that you have to work out within that problem.
Just makes it our radios,
There's a lot of
don't
usage
work.
of cell phones.
I'm not saying that there's not, I'm just saying there's
That
a
is
bigger,
not-
there's a
not
bigger
anything to
issue
do
than
with
just use of cell
town
phones.
time. Am I correct?
What's that?
I said there's a lot of usage of cell phone time. That has nothing to do with.
I'm not
work time.
I'm not disagreeing with you
Thank
at
you.
all. I'm just telling you that there's bigger issue than than just cutting out cell phones, period.
You done?
Yeah.
All right, let's see what we can draft up, a couple of suggestions you might have first. I believe in what you're saying. Let the, especially the road department let Ron have the.
Well, that
the
falls into
voice on
buildings
that.
and grounds also at times. You know,
I don't think they should be on the cell phone as much as the highway department,
but
but sometimes.
let's get some,
it all
a sketch
helps
up on
every
it.
Once in a while.
Get a sketch up on it and we'll go from there.
All right,
Talk to department heads and go from there.
all right. Anything else?
Not for me. Thank you, Gene.
All right, Mr. Niles?
Yeah, we've got 2 or 3 little updates and a couple little questions. I emailed everybody the Warrensburg and the Bolton Airbnb laws that were passed a year and a half and 2 or 3 years ago respectively. I would have printed them, but that probably would have killed my
A
little.
lot of pages, yeah.
Yeah.
I probably would have killed
got
my
that-
little.
I got
printer
that
at
over
home.
here. I'll let you know about that.
So that we can, start that discussion again. I got an email, which I'll forward, just got it today from our grant writer, lake management person, Tracy Clothier. I'm happy to report, and Paul, you already know this, that our harvesting company showed up today and has started harvesting milfoil, A&E diving. And a couple of Lake Association reps and I are going to get together to develop a priority for them. So we do the biggest, most important hotspots first. We'll go from there. Tracy is working with a company called Solitude. That's the applicator for the herbicide Basilicor. She's working with them to make sure we're doing what she thinks we need to do to have a higher success potential for the application. Tracy is pursuing and is going to file some papers to start the process to try to get a grant to update our zoning book. We talked earlier about that. That typically is the second phase of the updating of the master plan. Revision of the master plan, I should say. She's optimistic, so I think we should let her proceed and spend the time to start that process. She's looking for grants. We're told there's some grants available to put electric car charging stations at the town hall. She's going to look into that, see if maybe we can get a grant to do that and put them in for no cost. She's reviewing a grant to fund stormwater improvement recommendations around the town. The Lake Luzerne Management Plan years ago suggested revisions to stormwater management. At least one that I know of, probably all of the stormwater runoffs go right into either the lake or the river. Logan brought it up to Gene and Tracy. His brother is a professional engineer, and there are some grants out there for replacement of lead water lines. And so Tracy has started a dialogue with AJ Brooks to move forward at trying to secure some of that money.
Lead pipes are still a thing in this town?
Very much so.
Wow. Yeah. Logan, do you want to add any details to that? Brief synopsis?
There, the grant that we've been trying to, for the past few years, that is still in effect. Anything that needs to be changed, that has to be done by Friday. This is an additional grant that's above and beyond that. It's a two-leg grant. One is to look into what needs to be done to rectify it or fix it. And then the second leg is to give money to help do that. The main section is right through the center of town, up Bay Road, Main Street, Wall Street, that has these problems. So hopefully we can get one or both of them or get working on them to try to get some money to do this before we have a problem. When we went to class last year, they said that the state is starting to crack down on lead service joints. And I don't quote me on the year, but I thought they said 2025. If we don't have a total number of the lead service joints, if we can't, it goes by the year of the house. If we can't prove that we've changed it, it gets counted as a lead service joint. And eventually the town will be responsible to change it from the main to the house, not just to the curb stop. So it'll be a costly thing for the town if we don't start getting grant money to try to change some of these before the state cracks down on it.
We lost your grant money, didn't we, recently, Jim?
Yeah, we did not get the grant. The big one, right?
Yeah, I had called him a couple of weeks ago and discussed it with him. And I wanted him to, I have an email he gave me back the other day, Friday, to call and find out why we're losing this grant. This is the third year in a row. When I called him Friday, because I told him about 2 weeks ago, he sent me an email apologizing. He thought he sent it, but it was still on his computer and he didn't send it. So supposedly he sent it, trying to get an answer why. And help us find out what's going on. But I talked to Kevin Gary he just got a grant, same way as this water for new sidewalks in town, his town. Took him 4 tries. So we're on our 3rd try. So I just don't know. We can't wait. That's why we're gonna try a new company.
One thing.
Yeah.
AJ lives here in town.
Yeah.
And he works for I was looking at their website. He works for Arcadis, which is basically a worldwide engineering firm. And one of the big grants they just got was a huge new chunk of a system in Newburgh. So their batting average, to me, looks better than ours. All set, Logan?
Yeah, for now.
Moving on down.
I just, before the end of the meeting, make sure you come and see me. I want Jim to get up on what you told me earlier.
Tracy has got the Town Advisory Committee rolling along now in terms of the comprehensive plan. They've had 2 meetings and the discussions have been, I would say, vigorous, at least. I don't know if you'd agree with me, Patricia, but it was hard to contain it to 2 hours because the opinions and suggestions were flying. Saturday, that committee is going to do a downtown walk to identify features in the downtown area and just look at things and think. The next regular meeting is July 12th. That's my update on that. I have been to a couple meetings that were set up by Howard Schaefer to try to get all of the lakes talking together so that we can make sure that we take care of all the lakes in terms of water quality, potential invasives, and so on and so forth. They're putting together a plan for an educational arm. And time will tell what other ideas come out of that group. Which lakes were there, Howard?
All the lakes in the watershed were invited. There was Lake and Lake Benar. By the time we have our next watershed meeting, there should be a representation from every lake.
Yeah. So that's moving forward, and I appreciate your efforts on that front. Little item, kind of interesting item. The PTSA had their cardboard boat race yesterday. And the crowd on the beach, I would say, was probably about double from their first one, which was last year. And they had a 40% increase in boats, which means there was 5 more boats than last year. And I'll tell you, it was a blast to watch those kids.
Yeah.
You know, some of the boats get about halfway across, and they start taking on water. And some of the kids have no idea how to paddle. They're going around in circles. I want to, thank the PTSA, thank Buildings and Grounds for getting the bathhouse ready so we could use it if we needed it. Now, that kind of event is something that maybe our town can kind of be known for in a few more years. If you guys are okay with it, I want to order that $350 microphone to sit on that table. When we had our TAC committee meeting last time, we had the same problem again. Where we set up a big table, which we had 15 people sitting around.
Anything to help it.
I don't see a
Yeah.
problem with that as long as it helps.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't see a problem with that at all.
Well, I was gonna say, I wanted to try that other speed we have.
Try that first and then we'll,
We want to try the next meeting first, because we have a speaker down in senior center.
It's an amplifier.
Yeah,
It's like
and a
a band guy
microphone,
would use.
and you can hear it loudly in here. We tried it.
Okay,
We'll
I'll
hold off on that, just see if this works. It's here, we own it.
I'll hold off if you'll take care of seeing if that works.
We gotta have another meeting to try it.
No, we can try it.
Oh, I can.
I can get
show
my
you
kids to
next-
sign on to Zoom and they'll tell me if it's working or not.
Okay, that sounds.
I don't
good.
want to wait another month.
No, okay, let's do something.
two-
tomorrow, maybe, Thursday.
Patricia, correct me if I'm wrong, 2 or 3 folks are attending the TACs on a regular basis online. And one gentleman, Art Havoc, had some good ideas. And it was hard to have a conversation.
All right. Let's
I
work
was
on
on that meeting, if you remember,
Right.
as a- And at first 5 minutes were awful, and then our tech guy here did a wonderful job. Now, I don't know about you interfacing with each other at the meeting, but for us on Zoom, it was very good.
Yeah, I think what you did was crank up the volume, right?
Yeah. Turn on for that.
Yeah.
Well, we gotta get a little more communication from the people out there. Somebody say, I can't hear you, or otherwise we don't know. But when you have a group discussion, this other mic might help, because the speaker could be up in the window there and it could blast through into here. We'll try it this week.
Okay, that's it.
All right. Now we're on me. All right, I have a little laundry list here, just to be patient. The other day, I got a call from Emergency Services of Warren County. They were looking if we'd be interested in having a cool room, what they're calling a cool room for emergencies when the weather gets up over 100 degrees, and be able to keep people here during the day to be air conditioned. I talked to Barbara down, and we meet all the criteria, and it'll be our time. We won't have to put any extra time. We're here from 8 to 4. So if somebody wants to come in and sit in our senior center and just keep cool, well, I told them I'd get back to them, but I think we have no problem with that, and I don't think the board does at all. All right.
Any liability for that?
What's that?
Any liability?
Well, that always comes up, and you can't, somebody needs to be cool. We got the area. If something happens while they're here, it's tough. They gave me, must have air conditioning, available drinking water, public restrooms, seat at least 10 or more, ADA compliant, and somebody on staff. those are the regulations that they're looking for, easy to fill. So,
Mm.
all right, moving on along here. Okay, I got a letter from DEC. They still haven't gotten our report for this year, for last year, actually, on our landfill. I talked to Rick. He's recuperating. He's almost done with it. I called him back and I told him they'd have it at the end of the week and they're happy with that. Okay. In your packet, you saw when I talked about having the emergency lights and regular lights done. We got a quote from AJ Ayers for 20 new combined. That's a combined right there. And then we have 15 that are just like exit signs out in the hallway without lights. So if you want to look at it and when we have our agenda meeting, or if you want to go out and bid it, that's all the way up to you guys.
What kind of pricing are we looking at, Chief?
It's in your packet. I don't know. I don't have it exactly with me. So.
And I assume it's over 1,500.
Oh, it's over 50. It's close to 3,000, something like that.
So it brings them
at
up
least
to-
we need to get three
Huh?
prices.
It brings them up to code though, to get us to
Oh,
code.
it's code.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we're gonna do it. So.
But just read over. We don't do it this minute. We can come out the agenda meeting. And if you want to go out
Yeah.
for bids, then we can go out for bids. It's up to you, gentlemen. The other thing I got here is, and I'll have it out. This is just it says, get help, overdue water bills and sewer bills. This organization will help you pay some water bills or sewer bills, but we don't have any sewers, but the water bills. I have, it's a social welfare examiner. I have her name. Make copies of this later on and put it up there. Or just call me. I'll give you the telephone number later. If you have problems paying your bill, your water bill, let's use that. Sewer bills, we don't have to worry. This organization that comes from the state of New York can help you, maybe get you some money to pay some late bills or something like that. All right. Now I had talked to Jim Niles. He already gave much of a report. I was gonna have him give a report on the beaches, which he did. And I have the same thing down here, lake management, town grants, comprehensive plan, which we already talked about. The other thing in your folder, we've been working on this about 6 weeks, maybe more, from the water purifier, which of products he wants to purchase. It was in your packet. And sooner we look at it at the next agenda meeting and decide how you want to handle it, we can get it done. I put aside in that the ARP money that came from the state. We mentioned it earlier this season and I sent it to the state. We put 25,000, set aside money, 25,000 to do the improvements for our water needs. So I'm going to ask for a resolution later on in this to go ahead, if you don't mind. We can wait another couple of weeks. All right. We put 25,000 away for ARP money that we already approved to do that. So all we have to do is just get him to order the stuff and get it going. Here's the other big one that we have to get on, gentlemen. I know you sent out that thing for Warrensburg and Bolton Land. It's a lot of print to read, but if you can't do it, see Colleen and we'll print it out here. It's short-term rentals. It's becoming a real big problem in all the towns, not Luzerne. In fact, we had another call today. Somebody was complaining about motorcyclers that were in an Airbnb. A lot of noise with the bikes and a lot of noise at night. So I had a couple that here that some are being bought up for Airbnbs. We have to get together and Warrensburg, I read it, most of it, has a simple one. They just call for a permit. You know, but Bolton Landon is more legislating on the rules and regulations. But now at the county, you have an Airbnb, you have to sign up with the county and get a permit to run it through with the county. So we should still have something in town. And I don't know, Paul, if you were on the board, probably 3 years ago, we tried that one night here. We brought in 26 people that had doing Airbnbs, and there was a big hullabaloo about me because I own a bed and breakfast for 38 years. I was trying to cut them out of business. and
I
that's not
remember the
true.
statements afterwards. I wasn't on the town
So I
board at
have,
that
I've
time.
backed off from that, and I'll probably stay neutral on this. I won't have any opinion, or I won't vote on it. What I'm asking too is a resolution right now, if that's all right with the attorney, from the ARP funding, which we put 50,000 in three months ago or so. I already sent it to the state to turn 50,000 over to the road department, Ron Dool, to help finish some of this paving that's got to be done now before we get our CHIPS money. And I also was going to ask for a resolution to go ahead and let the water purifier order the stuff he needs. We put aside 25,000, but I don't think it comes to that much right now. So, I also got an email from Scott Stone that the ambulance group is going to start looking for a new ambulance or an additional ambulance, which I think they really need. And we did put money in the ARP money for the ambulance. So the county just got their last $6 million last week from ARP. So we should be getting the other 100. Don't hold me to the exact money, 165,000 to add to what we got now. So we'll have to redo, excuse me, this ARP stuff on where more money should go and less in other places. And I do have 20,000 in here for electric charging vehicles, which you said. But if we can get a grant for that, it'd be great. The one employee that we held off on, the part-time guy, kid until he got out of school, he'll start Thursday morning. He gets out of school Wednesday. He has last test Wednesday. He's available Thursday morning. Just talked to him today. So he'll be at Buildings and Grounds at 6:30. Ron and I went down to Hudson Grove. We had a complaint from Jason neighbor by the beach. There's two big trees there, and they're all kind of tilting over his fence and moving it. And one of the trees, if it comes down, it's going to take out his little sun porch there. So Ron said he was going to call and start looking for a price to cut the trees, get them off that beach. So I think that's all I have. But I like to talk about the resolutions, so we can get them going, get the money moved over to Ron's account for paving, and also get it moved over to help move the water, to get it modernized. That's what we're doing.
Something I just thought of, a couple months ago, we had a problem with an employee, and I thought we were going to set up some kind of disciplinary hearing. And I thought you were going to do it.
Yeah, I am, it's on my plate, but there's a lot involved in it.
Okay.
I don't have it finished or wrapped up yet. We're gonna have to get a independent hearing officer to preside over the hearing. And so, yeah, that's. Yeah, it's ongoing.
Okay. Let me squeak just a little bit.
Go for it.
It kind of, I think, sent a not so good message to other employees that this situation is taking so long to resolve. So do the best you can, Blake.
Understood.
All right.
I've got another thing too. We've got a situation with the lifeguards this coming summer.
Yes.
Okay, I believe you've got certification coming up this coming Sunday, is it, Mike?
No, next time.
Huh?
Just want to mention to the board that talking about the main beach, they're gonna be, they plan on opening in about 2 weeks.
Right.
As soon as they get certification for them.
That's for the assistant. That's what we're talking about.
It'll be coming up.
Okay, we'll be in time.
You're gonna
We
be-
also got a-
You're gonna be here on a Sunday.
This year.
Yeah, you're gonna be here on a Sunday to do the certifications, right, Mike?
Well, we've got another person we've got to add to it because we lost our
Assistant.
assistant. Okay,
Of what? The beaches?
yeah.
I thought she was gonna take 2 days off or something, and her mother was gonna take. off
Well-
for- That's the last I heard.
That is what was requested by her. We have to set a rate of pay. She has to get certified and we have to do it tonight. Because for him to do the certification, we've got to take care of that this evening. So I am saying what our rates were last year was the same rate we paid our lifeguards, which of course this year we increased up to $17 an hour. And I suggest we do the same thing with the assistant director. Okay, at $17 an hour.
All right, you wanna make a motion?
I make a
We
motion.
can pass a motion on that, right, tonight? Yeah, okay, make a motion on that,
I make a motion.
I
so
second.
that we have that all taken care of.
And her name is, yeah, it's Tiana's mother.
Deanna's mother.
Du Bois. There you go. Thank you.
Motion by Paul, second by Tim to appoint, what's her name?
Tracy Du Bois.
Deanna's mother, boy.
No, Du Bois.
She boy.
DBOIS.
Man, I went totally.
As the assistant beach director.
Right.
Yes,
$17 an hour.
yes.
Right,
Is that it?
Yep.
Up to 2 days. a week.
days a week.
But she must pass the certification.
Yeah. All right, that's a motion from you.
That is a
Do we have
motion.
a second?
I'll second.
Yes.
All right, we got a second.
I get a second.
Okay,
You're gonna vote now?
you vote now.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay, and back to the resolutions
Wait a
about,
minute, what certification does she have to pass here?
Mike,
Huh?
Mike,
what's the certification called that she has to get?
That the
WSI?
beach director needs.
Beach director.
Yeah, she has to have the same certifications as the other lifeguards, right?
Yes. Camps are WSI, public beaches, just like.
And for,
They have to have waterfront certification, which I give them.
so
Don't need anything else.
what should we call it in the resolution? Lifeguard certification, is there first aid involved?
Yes. And CPR.
Okay,
AED.
that's it. All right. Thank you.
CPR too, okay. Thank you, Mike. All right, back to the other resolution. Can we get a resolution to move this 50,000 that we have in the bank now from ARP money to road department to continue paving some of these streets that need to be paved?
What's it come out of?
It's coming out of the ARP money that we have.
So-
We gotta
so
spend
if-
it. It's right here.
It was there, that's what we said
Yeah.
2 months ago.
Right, but I gotta get a resolution now to do it.
I'll make that resolution.
Okay,
I'll second.
I'll second it.
all right. That's good.
So what the heck? You want it? Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Oh, I said
Resolution to move $50,000 from the ARP.
ARP fund account to
the Highway.
Highway fund.
Department.
For paving
for
reasons.
paving, for paving.
Miles and Tim. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And the last one is to go ahead and it's in your packet to spend, to upgrade our water system. He's got a couple of quotes in there. And the lowest one is what we'll pick. It's gonna be a total probably 15 to 18,000.
This is the new pumps and that, the first stage of it.
Yeah, a lot of new, get up new modern stuff that he has to do there, purification and all.
I've been over that stuff with him, so I'm comfortable going. through
I
this.
just
So
say,
am
we need the quotes. If he's got the quotes,
I got them right here.
we should refer directly to
Okay.
the quotes or the quote that you're gonna accept. She's the lowest one. of the
He's
three.
changing out
Well, I just got this.
bearing seals.
I don't know
Yeah.
exactly what it is. He's
Yeah.
got all kinds of numbers here, but I can add them up tomorrow and
Right
have it
style
in
of
the,
pump is-
in the final.
Antiquated.
Before
it's
we
not
send
the
it
right
out.
style.
No,
Or do you want it now?
Yeah, you need it in order to pass the resolution. You'd have to know what quote you're gonna accept with the specific amounts and ideally the other.
Could we go ahead and pass it and I'll get you the number exactly tomorrow before we fill it out?
No, you'd have to know the numbers of what you're gonna approve before you approve it.
All right, move on to the next one.
Or we could approve it up to X amount of dollars
They're down to the middle, yeah. We'll
and
have,
do it that way, can't we, Mike?
No, you can do up to 1,500, but you can't just write a blank check to what you're gonna then fill in with the lowest. You need the quotes already to come in to have the lowest one and then approve the one that you're gonna approve or the lowest one. So we can't just do it and not to exceed amount. You need to have the actual amount that you're gonna approve.
understood, thank you. All right, we'll wait a couple of weeks for that. Anything else, gentlemen? All right, we'll open to the public. Yes, Patricia, just come up. Can you come over here so you get on the Zoom part too, so people know who's talking?
Patricia Goldberg, Hillcrest Drive. I just want to say that up until this past week, it was not only dangerous to drive on Ivy Lane, it was dangerous to walk. And so I just want to thank, personally for myself, I want to thank the Highway Department. Ronnie isn't here, if you tell him, for the work that they did. And also the president of the Fourth Lake community has asked me to pass on his appreciation as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Patricia.
Anyone else? No other comments about a motion to adjourn?
Hold on.
Got one more. Oh, I didn't,
Oh,
oh,
I
I'm
just
sorry.
walked
I
up,
see
you
your hand
didn't
go
see
up.
me.
I didn't see you come up here.
Eileen Hickey, I'm up in the Heights. I have two things. First of all, for several years, we've asked for no parking signs on the hill on Broadway. You know, especially since COVID, lots of people are coming to that beach, Pierpont, and they park on both sides of the hill. It's hard for people to see walking, and if an emergency vehicle had to get up the hill, it wouldn't be able to. There used to be signs up to Third that said no parking, but some of them are still there. They're buried in the trees.
Well, how about
And
we
a
get
lot of
with
them are
the,
not there.
we get with the road department. Could you meet with them and show them what you want?
Sure.
So you don't just say we
Yeah.
need signs, so we know exactly where you want them.
Yep.
And we can move into that.
Okay. And then the other thing, I think Karen, did I meet with you? It was about Sullivan Lane and that little stretch of land at the end of Sullivan, which, nope, we didn't know, you didn't know for sure what exactly. The homeowner doesn't own it, and you were gonna find out who does own it, what it's called, what it is.
Yeah, Mike, we had passed this, maybe Kara got it at the last meeting. Melissa Janier, the assessor, and I did some research on this land over by the beach as to who owns it and what it is. And before we released any information, we wanted you or your firm to look at it and see what it was. I had given it to Kara. I do have a copy here, but if I give this to you, then I don't have a copy.
That's
any
fine.
longer.
I can get it from Kara.
Okay, but what it is on Sylvan Road, the town owns property there. And the question became, who owned what? And so Melissa had done this narrative on it, and we wanted to make sure we were correct before we release what we had found, basically. So if you need it, I have it. I can scan it in and send it to you, but I think Kara has it.
Okay.
But we had looked into it.
Okay, and then will they get a hold of me, or can I stop down there at some point to find out what you found out?
The piece of property that you're talking about.
At the end
Okay.
of Sullivan Road, the homeowner, I don't know Tony's last
Okay.
name. There's
Tony owns a piece of property there.
no, but he doesn't own Lakefront. I know he doesn't, because I know who he is, and he said he doesn't own Lakefront. I went down the day after the meeting, and there's a piece of land right
There's a
along his,
strip of land, if you let me finish, please. on the house that owns before Tony's piece of property, which belongs to her name is Pat, okay? Right next to Pat's 27 feet of house, there is a right of way.
Yes, that
The old
goes up to
right-of-way that
Butler
goes
Road.
all the way up into the heights,
I know that.
okay? Her property now continues on for another X amount of feet. Okay, which now blocks Tony's driveway completely off.
This isn't the piece of land we're talking about.
Okay. Go ahead.
Can you, do you remember the term you used with me, what that piece of land was called?
Paper Street, was that it?
No, but you had some kind of a term that piece of land, something,
Hold on.
that it wasn't really, you really didn't know how to define that piece of land. But I don't remember what it was. That's okay if you don't either, but I don't know if we're talking about the same piece of land, because this is waterfront right along the Indian Trail, what would have been the Indian Trail. It's waterfront piece of land. Tony doesn't own all the way to the water.
I didn't say he did.
Well, the last meeting, you and Mrs. Caruso, I think her name is, said that they had permission from the landowner to put their kayaks and tubes and swim from
Pat
that
owns a
property.
portion of that property and Tony owns a piece of that property.
Tony has said he doesn't own waterfront.
Tony is a person, his mother-in-law.
Yes,
Okay.
it's his
which is
wife's
Nancy
grandparents'
Barbera,
place.
Okay, is still in control of that property. They have a living estate, is all they have. And Nancy will verify it, that they do own the waterfront. And it is in their deed. And it even shown on the map.
Well, it's not on the map, actually. It's not on the map.
Well, when you get the map from Karen, you'll see it.
I saw Karen the day after the last meeting. We looked at the map. So Karen, you'll, like, maybe in a couple of weeks, will I be able to get some?
As soon as I get some kind of notification on what it is, somebody will be in contact with you.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I think you had, no, oh, sorry.
Dick Rudenko, 24 Davern Drive. Niles, can you bring us up to date on the Airbnb? I know you just mentioned gathering information from surrounding towns. And that's where we're going beyond that to get into that, really get into the depth of that situation.
We started talking about it months ago. Just talking about
Years
it.
ago, really.
Pardon me?
Years ago, really.
Yeah. And the short answer to your question is I don't think we ever took any action. So what I did was start gathering what other towns have done. And actually, I got those probably last summer. So the short answer to your question, no action's been taken yet. Now, the way, if I understand our procedure correctly, we will put together a proposed legislation, ruling, or whatever, that'll have to have a public hearing, or it should. And then it'll go from there.
Because you mentioned taking that information out there. I mean, that's really out there, and it's been out there, is what the surrounding communities have done. And like Jane mentioned, the county, you have to register with the county. All they want is their percentage for the bed tax. Okay, that's all they want. You register so they know who you are, where you are, and they get their percentage. That's all that is. But
That's all,
beyond that,
that's all, excuse me, that's all what is.
that the county wants.
County.
Oh,
The county wants their bed tax, so they want to know where you are so you can remit the tax.
okay.
But
And
it's
the sales
beyond
tax,
that.
and the sales
It's
tax.
way
Yeah,
beyond that,
beyond-
sir.
Yeah,
It is way beyond that. Okay? The zoning board over the years, or last year, I believe it was, came up with some suggestions. Somebody did in regards to anybody that's got an Airbnb up for rent, they have to be inspected, find out if the septic system is done. I've talked with other people throughout, acquaintances, that in other states even, okay, you have to put down how many people are going to rent the house. If they find out there's more than, say, 2 people they're renting it to, they automatically are evicted, okay? And no money is returned to the person that is renting. That's part of the contracts, okay? So they've buttoned them down in other states, very much so, okay? Noise is a factor, like you're saying, security,
Right.
okay? There's a number of factors we're looking at.
If you'd like to read the 2 that I got from, one from Warrensburg, one from Bolton, I'd be happy to email it to you or make copies of it.
Okay, thank you.
To boil these down, Paul just touched on most everything these do. Accountability is one of the biggest issues that these have a common thread. In other words, if a particular residence is overloaded, it's very common that whoever owns it is not reachable to deal with it, to call up his customers and saying, hey, quiet down or whatever. This permitting process that both of the towns are proposing, they have different enforcement measures, but one of them, I'll call it a 3-strike kind of thing. You get 3 complaints, your permit gets pulled. So then if you have a whole bunch of people there, you're breaking the law.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Paul mentioned that also in these things is make sure the properties can handle it to begin with. And that's where the permit requires an inspection to make sure the number of rooms, number of toilets, the septic system, and all that is acceptable. There is another common thread that I'd be remiss if I don't mention it in these 2 anyways, and that's that both of these towns recognize that they don't just want to outlaw Airbnbs. They still want to encourage vacationers, nice vacationers, to come and rent these places.
Right.
So on the one hand, they don't want it to detract from our community, but on the other hand, they don't want to just say, we don't want you. And that's a common thread in both of these. And I think that's the way I feel about it too. I will say that when I was campaigning, I probably heard 30 or 40 people bring that topic up. So the short answer to your question is we haven't put a resolution together yet and voted on it.
I like what Paul's talking about. We live right next door to one.
Where?
And what the straw that broke the camel's back, that we said, wow, really woke us up. Motorcycles right there.
Yeah.
All through the last couple of years have people, different people, like every weekend through the week, come on our property, unleash dogs, chase my little grandson up into his father's arms because he was really vicious. And good thing I ran down the bank and we were able to shoo the dog away. But this type of thing. And one more thing, they had an elevator that was target practice and with steel arrows shooting from the river toward the house, not toward our house, but where they were. Well, I did call up the owner and said, listen, you got to stop that. So she did go down there and stop that. But these are the activities that have to be addressed. We don't have a good community down there. I'll tell you right now. You're waiting for the next shoe to drop. Who are you going to have there? Is that going to be noisy or, or do you trust them or something like that?
It was nice when I used to live down there.
Pardon me?
It was nice when I.
Oh, yes, it was. That's right, Paul. And I thank you for taking my call the other night on your time.
You're welcome.
Here's one paragraph. It doesn't touch specifically on that, but it says that the rules and regulations, I'll boil it down. It's a whole paragraph. The rules and regulations of the Airbnb have to be posted so the occupants can see it too. In the building.
Right.
Like, don't shoot arrows at the neighbors.
Yeah.
All right, we can go on, and I agree with you 100%.
Stay involved in that process.
We've heard a
okay?
lot of
As long as you
complaints
have it
over
on
the
the front
years.
burner. As long
How
as you have
about-
it on
It's
the
back
front
on the
burner.
furnace.
Okay.
Hey,
Thank you, Paul.
Paul, can we get, how about a workshop for next Monday night? so we can discuss something that what we want out of these, because you're all gonna have them now. And see if we can come up with something that we can, it's not gonna take a week or two, it's gonna take a little bit. What do you think? We gotta get moving on it.
Yeah.
Otherwise it'll never get done. So how about we,
On the 20th, a week from today?
a week from today, 7 o'clock, if that's all right with you, we'll sit down and start discussing some of this stuff. It's strictly just for that.
Let me check. For some reason, I'm thinking I got a problem that night, but I don't know.
Tough. Answer it.
All right. Let's set it up
All right.
and if, I'll let you know tomorrow if I can't make it.
All right. All right, so everybody's in agreement next Monday night, 7 o'clock.
Who's got big feet?
Who's kicking his desk? Okay.
Yes, Jack Herring. As everyone in here probably knows, we're off to a terrible start in Luzerne with 3 drownings in a little more than 4 weeks within like 1,000 feet of the river. The one last Saturday virtually in front of my house. And as tragic as it is, I think it's brought out a lot of good in this community, the real character of Luzerne. And I think it would be appropriate if the board would recognize just a couple of things. One of those is the first responders. I happen to be at all 3 incidents because they're basically on my front doorstep. The fire departments were there unbelievably fast. EMS was there unbelievably fast. The fire departments are the fire departments and police departments, tremendous response. Keeping in mind they're all volunteers and that, and I know we have a lifeguard supervisor here or whatever, but you know, rescuing drowning victims is not pleasant. And I think it's extremely important that in these cases, 2 of the 3 victims were rescued by citizens, by residents, one of which was just a youth. They were actually risked their life to go in the water, retrieve these people that were drowning, get them up onto pontoon boats and start CPR in both instances to get them over to the shoreline to the EMS people. And unfortunately, none of them survived, but it wasn't for a lack of trying. And I think it would be really appropriate if the town would issue like a resolution or something, just thanking the response from everybody, the fire departments and all that, but especially the citizens, and especially the one young man that basically by himself lifted the last victim onto the boat on Saturday. So I know that the town's going to get a tremendous amount of bad publicity from it. You know, 3 drownings. From my own perusal of the news, I think we've had more drownings in Luzerne than any other water body in the state so far this year, including all the huge ones. And we've had 3 within 1,000 feet area. So I just think it would be nice if the town acknowledged not only the professionals that were there, but the citizens that were there in some sort of a blanket resolution, or, you know, I would leave that up to you guys.
I think we can make a proclamation.
Yeah.
on that. We do something up here and there, just read it, get it in the paper.
I wouldn't, even though I know all the people, the citizens involved, I wouldn't, you know, obviously I wouldn't mention their names,
No, we
respect
can't.
their privacy, but they may, you know, want to input or something, I don't know, but I just think appropriate to take some action. And if there's any way that you could somehow work in a little safety thing in there. I mean, none of these victims had life jackets. It's the same old, same old. You know, I've been on this waterway for 4 decades. And I can't tell you how many people have been taken out. Most of you know.
That's a good
It's-
idea. I really-
It averages more than one a year. Sometimes it's, well, we're up to 3 already and it's not even the middle of June.
We have a pretty good writer in the audience. Wonder if he might be willing to,
Like I said, just some, I'd
Put a
ask you guys
piece
to
together.
consider and to get it. I don't know if you could get it like in the newspaper or someplace where everybody's gonna see it, you know, not just like posted on,
I think it's a good idea, Jack.
I think it's a good idea. I
Yeah.
really do.
you know.
We'll get something together.
Okay.
Thank you.
And one other question I had was on a prior resolution. It's one of the ones I mentioned I couldn't find. A couple of months back, you guys passed a 3% increase for a group of people that employees that didn't get
Right.
at an earlier,
Right.
right? Has that been, have they received their
We
percentage?
were just working on.
Yeah, that
it.
was-
That was introduced
That was-
tonight, Jack.
that's one of the ones we did tonight.
One that we did tonight.
And was it part of that resolution that the town board will turn down that?
Say that
The
again?
3% or?
Oh,
not?
the 4 of us did.
I did.
I did. I turned it down.
Oh, but it wasn't the entire board?
No, it wasn't.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. for
All right,
your help.
anything else on this call tonight?
Freddie.
Come on, Freddie, let's go.
Wouldn't be a complete night without hearing.
Freddie's got to say goodnight. Say goodnight, Freddie.
Question number one, does Jamie have the right to change the password? Because we had this problem earlier in the year.
I can't answer that question. I assume so, but I can't answer the question. She has the right. It should be registered with Lori at the town when she changes password.
All right, so that's going to be looked into, I take it.
Yes.
Okay, I think that's good.
Fred,
We
have a
are in
little bit
our-
of a chain of command on that.
What was that?
We have a little bit of a chain of command on stuff that gets
Well,
posted.
who's the leader of the chain of command?
Here, well, it's the town board, but Lori handles it and then she passes it on to Jamie. Lori's been out.
Well, we went right to the chief.
Well, I call it. She was nice.
Yep, okay, because we ran into this problem earlier in the year. Right? My
Yep.
next question is, we're getting an engineering firm to assess the dam, I guess. Is that going to be put on the internet like it was during the election time?
I was told it's too big a report to put on the internet.
Well, I mean, somebody put it on when it was going to fail. I think that report should be put on there, so it's not going to fail.
But there's a part to it. I just went over it myself. I marked it all. It's about 7 or 8 pages, talks about everything with the dam.
That's the summary.
About 35 pages is all the left zeros and roads. So
How about just saying,
Basically, Fred, there's a number of spots in the dam that have got to be hydro injected.
I'm not disputing that. I'm disputing whether it's going to be public that has been found by this engineering firm that the dam is not going to fail like it was during election time.
Can we get the report linked to the website?
You can just put it in there, say it's not going to fail like it did, like it was reported at that time.
I don't know. I'm not smart enough.
I don't know who put it on the internet at that time. Nobody seems to know.
Wait, slow down. Can we do that? Can we put a link on the website to that report or just send them the important stuff?
No, I think that you'd be able to get the report, a link to the report on the website. I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but I would think that's possible. Yeah.
Well, I want to get it on there myself personally.
Well, I want to see it too, because it was on there earlier during election, saying all the problems that we had. Now, an engineering firm is going to come in and say there are problems, but not as bad as advertised.
It would be good to have the public have access to.
I agree.
It would be good to have for anybody in here, anybody in the town. to
Because
look at it.
it went out that it was going to be a failure. Now, we're getting an engineer report that might say it's not going to fail. And the second thing, or third thing is, I think we're into our 6th meeting of the year. Is that correct?
Yeah, go on.
One board member's missed 50% of them meetings. Is, is there a requirement as to how many of them meetings you attend? Is it, you still get paid for missing 50%? You get paid for all of them?
He's been here for
3.
2 other meetings that you're probably not aware of.
No, there's only been 6.
He's talking about.
6 board.
You had 6.
I'm talking about the board members. Yes, right here, town board.
We'll have at least 2 meetings a month, but to answer your question, that's come up.
It's the third, that's what I'm saying, 50%. 6 months, 50% is 3. Now, is there full pay for those 3 meetings missed?
Yes, there is right now.
Okay, then why is that possible? I mean, everybody tried to cheat these girls out of money.
Are you aware of what he's doing?
I don't care what he's doing. I'm saying,
Well,
I'm
he's-
defending these girls when they wanted to get a reduction in pay. Here's a man that is not participating in his job and getting paid. We've had 6 meetings. We're in our 6th month, 50% of them, one of the board members has not attended. I think that should be addressed. I mean, if somebody else does not show up, you can't take a vote. That's already happened.
Are there rules and procedures in the town about this? How many times? I don't think so.
All I can say is we probably can look into it and get back. to you.
Yes. All right, and the final,
Extenuating circumstances of the courses that he's taking.
it doesn't matter what he's doing.
I understand.
I mean, you know,
But
And-
if the supervisor's Merlino's saying there's nothing,
it doesn't matter. I don't, it doesn't matter to me what he's doing. I mean, there's an empty seat. Pardon?
So on Zoom, he says he's there. I don't.
Oh, and the last thing I want to bring up, this kayak thing, that's town property. Why does there have to be permission from the public for the town to let them make the decisions where they want their kayaks? That's town property. The town does not need their permission.
that was my point. That was exactly my
That,
point.
I mean, you know, they should be happy
As
that the
as
town
rude
is
as that
allowing
sounds, it's
them
not
to
trying
do
to be
that.
rude, but that is the truth of it, is town property. You're right. You're.
I mean, they should be happy.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not defending Paul. I'm just saying as town property, you don't need a public hearing from the kayakers to come in and say, we want to move our kayaks 5 more feet to the lake. It's up to you people to make that decision, not them. They may have an idea, but be happy that the town is letting you do it.
They were there, they were closer to the water 2 years ago.
It doesn't matter. Bonnie and Clyde, Rock Banks, didn't make it right.
Fred,
Fred, I hear you. Thank you, ma'am. I thank you.
It doesn't matter. Bonnie and Clyde robbed banks for years. They did not make it right.
I'm not a robber.
Call it.
Well, but you're.
Put kittens in the oven.
I
I need a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Wait a minute.
Yes, Stan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fred.
Stan Goldberg, Hillcrest Drive. I know that Terry Clothier is paid as a grant writer. Am I correct?
Yes.
Grant writing and following up, et cetera. Is she paid additionally for managing, if you will, the comprehensive plan?
She's not paid additionally. She's accepted the money that we had way back a couple of months ago, agreed to pay her. to
She's
do
on,
this work.
she's on retainer at $50 an hour.
At $50 an hour. And there is no specific feedback to the town of why it's going to take 1.5 years or it's going to take a year. How many hours is this supposed to take? You're the liaison to this, to the board. How long should this take? The last one in 2010 brought it up from 35 years ago. We didn't have one. And that took 2 years. And that was very, very comprehensive. And it had a lot of senior people from the town who had been here forever and ever. And it was run by a, professional in that area. I just don't understand why 18 months will take to bring a very comprehensive plan from 2010 with a lot of zoning in it, which is really the grist for this kind of a project.
why it would take 18 months. I think that should be questioned. I think that this could be done in a much shorter period of time using the 2010 document. You heard me say that, and that's going to be distributed finally to the members of the group. That is a really good comprehensive plan to play off what they're going to do now. And it shouldn't be a new plan. It should be an update to that plan. Okay?
I think her schedule, the actual written schedule, has several milestones and so on and so forth. I think that's 13 or 14 months.
Okay, so you're saying not 19, not 18 months.
Right,
We-
but-
They don't know exactly.
Well, I can show you that schedule. Okay, I don't have it with me.
Could you share that
I could, sure.
and put it on the website or something like that?
It's not, but I have it. I'd be happy to send it to you. However, it doesn't include the zoning changes.
No, I'm not talking about, I'm saying it's recommendations for zoning changes.
That's right.
That's right. And last time some were accepted and some were not accepted.
Right.
But just looking at the documents, you can see what our current zoning is. It's very, very clear.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure that the group is going to use that 2010 document as the starting point. And I think that was agreed at the end of the meeting when I spoke about that. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. We've got a good document. Let's update it, and that should be the mandate. I also have a question. I don't mean it to you personally, Jim. You're defined as a liaison to this group.
Yeah.
And the true definition of a liaison is someone who is responsible to receive and be apprised of what's going on with a particular project. So Terry Clothier on a regular basis would update you as a liaison. You did position yourself at the meeting at first with not saying much, but then you really joined in as though you're a member. I mean, the question really is, can a member who will ultimately vote on accepting the document, which is the town board, be a member of a committee like that? That's a question I give to the board. It's really the judge and jury both making a decision.
Yeah.
So I know you asked them, but I think you asked the members if they had a problem with you being part of the membership. But I think they're a little cowed by that. You're a senior guy, and there was a timid yes to it. And I have no problem. You have a lot to offer, but.
Can I ask you a question?
You should let me finish one more point.
I'm afraid I'll forget my question.
Instead of you. Kicking the wire. Instead of you, I'm going over 2 minutes. Mayor Cooper, member of the planning board one member of the planning board should be part of that group. Maybe it's hard to get them, but they really are the ones.
We do have them.
You do have a member of the planning. Good. All right, now you can get at me.
I think there's 3 members.
I'm sorry?
I think there's two or three.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. Fine, thank you.
You thought I was joking about forgetting my question, didn't you? I have no problem changing dramatically my role because it has morphed into what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But I do have a problem. That's my background. If it's generally conceived that me participating as much as I have is less beneficial, then I will back down and be strictly a liaison. I have no problem with that other than, and that's why I brought it up. I know what I wanted to ask you. I'm putting you on the spot, okay?
That's all right.
I should have paid more attention to the body language of the committee when I asked that question.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they did just kind of say what they think maybe I wanted to hear, which is, oh, now is you're a great guy, stay on the committee. All right.
That's what I saw, felt. Yeah.
Okay. That's important because I didn't pay attention to that. I'll ask a couple more people.
Okay. The only thing you could do is.
Obviously, it's a point I was thinking about.
It's a good subject, but wait a minute, don't do this.
Okay.
We have a certain amount of minutes. We have to come to an end. Otherwise, we'll be here until midnight. So you made your point. I understand it. I'll speak to him on it. And thank you.
All right. Again, he does a good job.
Thank you. Well,
He should
that's
be
why we
off the
have
board
him
and a
here.
member.
How about a motion to adjourn, gentlemen?
I already made one.
All right. Second. All in
Didn't
favor?
work.
Aye.
We're adjourned.